Oh, hey Ryan, how you doing?
I'm doing good, hun. How are you?
Oh, we're doing fine, me and my cat. And this is my first interview on this channel, so everybody bear with us, and we'll get through
My
it
first
together.
interview with anybody, so
We were friends on Twitter in the way back old days,
yeah.
When did you got kicked off, right?
I got kicked off the same day as Trump. Yeah,
Yeah, me too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Badge of honor.
Yeah, that's what Tom
Badge of
said.
honor.
That's so
I don't
funny
want to
you
be
said
part of
that.
Dorsey's little thing anyway.
Yeah. Well, I kind of think that we were talking about it and we think that the white hats have been in control and they're just pushing buttons to get people to pay attention and wake up. What do
They
you think
are.
about that?
I
It could
think
be.
it's.
I
I
don't
think it's
know.
interesting. I've been hearing rumors, especially about that the Evergreen Ever Given ship.
Yeah.
I heard when they took that over, they were kind of drawing little.
Oh, they did. Yeah.
See, that's my crew. That's my kind
Yeah.
of crew right there.
There you
Those
go.
little, yeah, those little
That's
subtle
so
things you got
funny.
to look for with humor. I'm digging it. I'm
I
loving it.
know. Negative brought that up. I don't know, the things that will like automatically fly the planes that POTUS had taken out. He had that, I don't remember when it was a while
Yeah,
ago. So the planes are safer because they won't get crashed by somebody,
yeah,
remotely like a drone.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what they did with the ships, Negative said, because they had to get all these ships out of the way. It was many, many ships there in the
Yeah.
canal. And so what they did was they controlled all those ships. So they didn't even just control the one. They,
Do
they
you
controlled all of them, got them out of the way.
do you recall when we were on Twitter? There was that. I'm not sure the legitimacy of it or not, but it
Yeah.
was that. What was that guy's name? It was a radio conference. It's on YouTube, and it's with Rabbi Finkelstein.
Oh my
And
gosh.
he's
I don't
talking
know.
about all the things that they do during Passover and stuff like that.
Yeah,
He
I
started
think I
talking about
did.
the whole how they use McDonald's there and all
Oh
that
no,
stuff.
I don't remember that. No, go ahead.
Oh
Oh
man.
my
Oh,
gosh.
okay. We're gonna have to post that video because
Huh.
somebody posted that video to me and I could not believe what
What
was
did they
coming out
do?
of this rabbi's mouth. I mean, just blatantly admitting what they do with children with these sacrifices and things like that.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And I'm jaw dropped. I'm sitting there like, oh my God. Well, when that ship got stuck in the Suez Canal, the Suez means the beginning.
Okay.
Well, the
Yeah.
beginning of what? There's a little
Yeah.
trade transit going on through there.
Right.
At the same time, during Passover, all right. So when you hear
Yeah.
what this rabbi says that they do during Passover, this
Yeah.
ship got stuck during the moment of Passover at the same time that they were revealing their Messiah, this Ben uh, Jizekiah, I think his
Okay.
name is. I don't know if
Wow.
you heard that.
I
Like
thought I knew what you meant, but I guess I really don't.
this
So
Jewish Messiah
mm,
stepped forward at the same time, roughly, that ship got stuck. And I'm sitting there looking at it like, wow, look at the timing of this. Because the
wow.
first thing that clicked was that interview that I heard back on Twitter. And I'm sitting there like, what am I watching right now? What's on
Yeah.
that ship?
Oh
Are there
yeah.
kids on that ship? And I heard there were. I heard there were other
Yeah.
things that were supposed to be put at play that got stopped, thankfully. It's going to
Right.
be pretty
Scary.
disastrous if they reach the
Scary.
destination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank God that, and I think that's been happening all over the world, not just there. That's kind of
Mhm.
what I got from that,
Yeah.
And I think
That's
that's
a
why
bold move. I mean, that's a move you make if you're comfortable in a position that you
yeah,
must have been doing it for quite some time. That's a pretty bold thing.
yeah, yeah, and to bring attention to it, like they
Especially,
did.
yeah. Where you got to advertise it with your little subtle
Yeah, I
stuff.
know.
Yeah.
I know. I've gotten decodes lately that are so funny. I won't get them exactly right, but they're things that say LOL, God's a riot. And that's what's happening. It's like
Yeah.
really
I,
good
I I
sense of
get
humor.
I get a very organic sense that
Yeah.
there's let's call it an internet at play in an organic level where you don't need a computer screen. It's based on your own intuition. So
Right.
let's call that the organic 5G, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I spend enough time trying to, you start out and it sounds like chatter at first. And all
Yeah.
of a sudden it becomes organic and you start getting thoughts. And that's one thing, you remember Robert from Twitter that worked with me and Jutsi as well. Robert mentioned something that stuck and he was like, thinking about thoughts. And I was like, so if you have a thought process, really think about your thoughts. So we started letting our thoughts like steer the wheel for a while.
Yeah.
We were talking about things honestly before we even started gematria in like a year and a half advance.
Wow.
Like we would talk about things, you would see things start coming up in the news and we're like, what's going on right now?
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to proclaim anything. You don't want to put yourself on a pedestal, but you want to try to reach out and try to get a grip on what's going on. And there's probably a lot of other people that are feeling very organically connected to something and are kind of like a little freaked out about things too. So
yeah.
Very interesting times. Very.
Oh, I know that video you sent me was like, that was intense. I got a feeling, I don't know how far into the way I think you're thinking, but anyway, I think Mel Gibson is I call him one of those people. You know what I mean? The high up people.
Well, I've honestly traced back the corruption of the church easily back to the late 1300s, 1400s, Byzantine era of the church. Yeah.
Sure.
What I was trying to tell you on Telegram when I sent those messages, and I sent them to -48 too, just trying to reach out and try to get give a dog a bone a little bit.
Yeah.
But that house, I don't know how to pronounce it properly. It's Basarab, Basarab, and House Draculesti. That was like an internal war of this Order of the Dragon, funded by Sigismund of Luxembourg. Now, I can't tell if the Order of the Dragon was the original 7 supposed churches of God, because our Bible says that they're along the coastline of Turkey.
Okay, great.
Which in my opinion, at that time would have been the Ottoman Empire.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I'm looking through this bloodline of these houses, this Basarab and stuff, and lo and behold, the last ruler of the House Draculesti, his name was Michael the Brave. Is that Saint Michael? Is that, and if he's from House Draculesti and you had Vlad the Impaler was from House Basarab, where did the whole bloodsucker thing come in? Like, because, Vlad the Impaler was not really of Draculesti.
Okay.
From the other house. So it's almost like identity theft. And therefore, from a certain moment in time, the church was scapegoating in the name of Jesus. It's just like kind of like when they came over to the United States, they did horrendous things in the name of Jesus behind the cross. You hear about the same thing with the Mayans when they dealt with Cortez.
Yeah.
And it's interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting. You tell a lot of people, you feel like a lot of the talks people are having now is that they feel a lot of things were edited or cycled out of the Bible and stuff. When you look at the history of the Vatican and stuff, they've changed worship dates. They've changed order of Sabbath and things like that to fit whatever age they felt necessary. I don't really think God means to edit his book.
I don't think so.
He has the capability should he want to put pen to paper, but like, you see man put pen to paper, and that's my clash with the whole religion thing. So I kind of fell away from the church a while.
I did too. Yeah.
I mean, especially the moment I got tattooed when I was 17 years old. I got my first arm done when it was like they automatically condemned me to hell. Like it's like I was like, this is not what this is not church. What is this? Like, you know what I mean? It's I've been looking for quite some time, but it's nice to see that it's not nice, but it is nice to know I was right in the sense that something was taken. So something's something's altered in the sense that, you know, it's like Jesus's name is still put on high by these people, but they hide behind his name to perform disgusting things.
Oh, I know.
And therefore it's like kind of laying that on his name.
I know.
And that's what we're dealing with.
He's going to get his name back.
Oh, hands
It's
down.
going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm probably off the deep end with all my, like, I think I know who Jesus is. So I don't know if you even know. That's what I think. That's what we're not talking about with negative 48. You know, we've been talking about that.
Listen, he's got the pipes. He's got
Yeah.
he's got the pipes. It sounds like him.
I know.
It sounds like him, but you never know. Did you see the video with him? I think it was Charlie Ward and Prime. They both hopped on at the same time. They both hopped on at the same time. It looked like it was a panorama. Like you saw the couch in the hotel window, and on 48 you saw the end of the window and the other end of the couch. It looked like they were sitting in the same room, right and left of each other.
That's funny.
Yeah, I looked at that like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? I see that. My perspective's pretty quick. I see that. What's that about?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, not gonna pull the wool over our eyes. We're in-ons.
Yeah, yeah.
I try a little harder.
Yeah, everybody's head is on a swivel. It's been a long ride.
Yeah, yeah. So how's your wife with all this stuff? I was wondering.
We separated. We separated.
Oh, you did? Oh, I thought we were talking about, I thought you said you were married 5 years.
No, still married, separated. She
oh, I see. I'm sorry.
She swears up and down I'm a tin hat, and she
oh,
she thinks it's in
sorry.
In our daughter's best interest to get away from. No, it happens. It happens.
Yeah.
She can't see the big picture. She can't.
Oh my goodness. It's happened to so many people.
It is. But you know what? Like I even called this earlier. This is I call this a separation of the waters, a separation of the tare among the wheat. And
it won't take too long.
No, I mean, and that's the one thing about that Q post about pain is coming. I mean, we're going to go through different various forms of pain emotionally, you know, soul afflicting things, especially when we find out what's been going on and that's released. Like,
I know. I think we're going to, even though a lot of people think they'll be prepared. They're not. I don't see how you can be ready for something like that.
No, and I'm going to call it right now. A lot of people are on their knees in prayer and they're ready to stand up and do something. But the fact of the matter is, when that goes off, they're going right back down on their knees. And there's going to be mourning on both sides. It's just the way people nitpick at each other, left or right. I wonder how many people are going to be there as a commune nation to lift those up who spit in your face all the years. You know, everybody over there, when they come to find out the truth and realize they've been, you know, heavier puppets than we have, and all we've been trying to do is get to them. And it's, you know, people are like, "Well, kick their ass." No, you don't.
No.
Yeah. You want to be there. You want to lift them up. That's what none of this is about. It's not about color, age.
It's not who's right and wrong and at what point in time. You know, I mean, like you said before we got on, you didn't know what was going on before. What year it was?
No. I'll tell you right now. When I first got started, I was very ignorant. I was sitting there. I was drunk. My daughter wasn't born yet, and my son's in his 20s down in Florida. I was drunk. I was smoking pot, and all of a sudden, this voice came in my head. Ryan, I'm sitting there playing PlayStation like an idiot. And this voice comes in the back of my head and says, "Ryan, what was original law?" And I heard it clear as day. And I'm sitting, I'm sitting right next to my wife. And I just turned the game off and handed her Netflix and pulled my computer out and got sucked into immediate findings of Nephilim, L.A. Marzulli, and it led me through Mesopotamia, Sumeria, everything. And when I met Jutsi, I was bringing that to the forefront when AI was being talked about. You know, when people were first talking about AI.
Right.
Put this entire thread together of my views on, you know, the world fell when you see a robot get baptized by the church.
Oh, yeah.
And we put this entire thing together. And honestly, we we chimed in and just threw our own perspectives as God-fearing, God-loving people into this thread, and it lasted live for 3 days. And
Really?
we kept that pinned. Yeah. And then
Keep going.
this was a year and a half. And then all of a sudden Serial Brain comes out, and Serial
Oh, yeah.
Brain does a post regarding the exact thing I'm talking about. We kind of do the high five. We're like, we're on point. We're over the target.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, that's
It's like when you
beautiful.
don't get confirmation, it's like, yeah, am I going crazy?
Yeah.
Love POTUS. I got a lot of different confirmations from him that
Oh, that's awesome.
I feel were personal.
I got a couple. I got a couple that was really
Yeah.
cool.
I even ran a bunch of them through the, through the Gematrix and stuff when I got them. Like
Yeah.
the one I just got real bored and felt like a kid one day, and I ran out and I bought a Lego architecture set, White House.
Yeah.
White House together, took a picture, sent it, tagged Jutsi, and I was like, check it out. She's like, oh, she's like, that's interesting because at the same time this is going on, and it's showing Ivanka handing her son handing grandpa his Lego White House. I'm going,
Oh.
like,
Oh.
wow.
Oh my
Wow,
goodness gracious.
what's happening
I
right
love
now?
it. I love it.
Yeah, it's very
During the
interesting
stream.
how timing tends to kind of look at you and give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
Yeah.
It's
And
interesting.
there are no coincidences,
I really don't feel so. I really don't
And
feel so.
I'm sure you probably already know, but in the Jewish language, there isn't a word for coincidence because as far
No,
as I know, they don't think there is one, and that's why
no,
they don't have a word for it.
no.
Yeah. Yeah. So you want to talk about your family, how far back you go, or you want to talk about the video, or?
As far as my family goes, I mean, we could only do a trace back to 1750, which I found
Yeah.
very, very interesting. Very
Yeah.
interesting. And you hear a lot of talks lately about silver,
Yeah.
and my dad's half brother was apparently in the CIA for like 30 some years.
Did you not know it?
No, I met him when I was 17, when my uncle died. My uncle died of a heart attack at 51 years old. Are you hearing all these numbers?
Oh, I know. 17, 51.
Yeah, it's
reverse. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because now I'm paying attention as I go over and I start recollecting things in my life. And he showed up, and apparently he was in the CIA for quite some time. And he's a half brother of my dad. Well, when he passed away, he reached out to my dad, and my dad never made it in time.
Oh.
But when he passed away, there were 33rds in his funeral.
Well, there, yeah.
And they had all this going on, and yeah. They mentioned my uncle's name, and they mentioned my aunt's name, but they never mentioned my dad's name as far as lineage and things like that go.
Wow.
So I started getting the idea, what if he was reaching out to you to give you some sort of, like a deathbed confessional, gag order, said and done. What if it's, this, that, and the other? And it's, I kind of feel that way. And his name was Sterling.
Oh, that's so funny. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Sterling.
Mm-hmm. Which goes into AG, which is also 1 and 7,
Right.
So it's and then 1 and 7, like it's I have so many different, I don't know. I hear people do gematria, and it's like, I want to ask them if they're actually trying various languages instead of English. Like there's various ways to use English for other means. Like we're a melting pot language. So we have Roman numeral concept built into our already Aramaic, Hebraic meshup with alphanumeric, And it's like if you had like 5, people talk about 5-5. Well, 5 in binary is 101. I just heard them talking about binary the other day on negative 48s. So say me and Jutsi looked at this, and it's like 5-5 would be 101101. Oh. And then 5 is also V in Roman numeral. 5 is the 17th hour of the day on the 5 o'clock position on the clock. So if
Mhm.
you put 0 point in the center of the clock and run a line from there to 5, looks just like a Q.
Yeah.
So it's like there's all these different so Q is V, Q is 17, Q is also 5, Q's a lot of different things. And it's like I think about that. It's like when -48 said this is beyond crazy, stupid coded.
Yeah.
Like we're talking layers. We're
I know.
layers of dates and alphanumerics, and the way you can approach this is you could spend days and not even realize days passed if you really get in the zone. It's interesting.
You're one of my smart friends.
I try. I try.
I
Like,
love it.
I got this book, and it's like, I do things like this for fast cipher for gematria.
Holy cow.
Yeah, this is gray code, binary code. This is seconds, placements on the clock, all the way down to the rose compass in the center, just for fast
Really?
reference when I'm doing gematria. If I'm just, it's an immediate translate from every
Really?
section in the clock.
And how do you think of things like
Don't
that?
ask. Don't ask.
Really?
It's like this every day. I wake up out of bed.
Yeah.
I'll wait an hour. Now I'll wait an hour. Before I used to want to get started right away. So right out of bed, right to the coffee and caffeine. And by the end of the day, I got a splitting headache because I probably overdid it at that point. But
Too much screen time, maybe. Yeah.
I wish the curriculum in school was this addicting.
Oh, I know.
You have any idea how much I would have actually been at school? It was so boring.
I know.
I used to always come back. Even if I skipped school, I would come back for the one period for social studies and history lessons, though. I always respected those teachers for some reason.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
nice.
love my history.
Oh,
Rest of the teachers, you're wasting my time.
you're wasting my time.
Right.
My time's valuable. I just said that last
Yeah.
night when my video didn't work out. I was so mad. I spent so much time and the video didn't work. And this time I thought I was recording.
Yeah.
And what I'd done on and off so many times, it was off. So the last time I did it was off.
The whole
And
time.
then at the end, I said to Bob, I'm done. And that's what I recorded. I'm
Oh,
so stupid. And I went to
that's
look back at
terrible.
it and I was like, there's like 3-4 seconds on and it's recording. What's going on? Oh,
Yeah, I did that with a lot of work I did. I was doing some work on Paint Shop and putting
okay.
together this whole little graph thing of connecting dots with different illustrations and stuff. And I had to, throughout the day, set it aside and minimize the screen, set it aside. And I come in, I go to tap my screen. I wasn't looking, and I tapped right to close the program.
Oh,
And
no.
you're talking 6 hours of line work and this, that, and the other. I'm going, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, I didn't even, yeah.
That's too bad. That's when you can use a photographic memory. It would be real handy, wouldn't it?
I did a pretty good job putting it back together, but I think the original layout was just, it really did a better job of helping you follow the cookie crumb trail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of that reminds me of something. Now, you probably think I'm crazy.
Nope.
But I've talked about this on a video before, but anyway. Okay, so I've been trying to figure out who the Bidens are, because there's different people playing. I call them the Bidens, just because I don't like to say president, even though it's one of our people. You know what I mean?
I will never give him the decency of that title ever.
Yeah.
No way.
But
Joey at best.
Joey. Yeah. Well, Joey.
Him and his kangaroo courts.
Yeah, but he is one of us. You do know that, right? He's a good guy. Biden is.
Who's this?
Our supposedly the 46th POTUS.
He's a good guy?
Yeah. He could be. Okay, this is it.
Optics.
And Negative brought it up too. I already had figured one or two, well, definitely one out. I figured. And it was through the weirdest way. Not your normal research, it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
I was thinking, it could be Steve Martin, because that, to me, it's like a comedy thing. It's like more like a comedy because he puts out comms. They put out comms for us. So Biden does that. So does the, what's her name? The spokeswoman that has the big forehead.
Jen Psaki.
Psaki.
Uh-huh.
I think she's somebody else too. I really do. I think she's someone else, but I won't get into that now. It's too confusing.
She's creepy, man.
Yeah.
And I'm not, I'm not big on picking out anybody's faults or anything, but the freckles just make it creepier.
I know. Well, I think she's a guy.
I wouldn't put it
There's
past
so many
him.
people that are guys. Let's face
I
it.
wouldn't.
I think the
not
queen
put it
is a
past
guy. I think she's long gone, but I think on that interview that Negative and Tom and Bryce and I did, well, there were other people too, but he was telling us about. Oh, I'm off topic. I get off topic so easy. Anyway, he's telling us that there's a portable like loo that goes around with her when she goes someplace else. This structure is brought so she doesn't have to use facilities someplace else that's foreign.
How
And
far we've
there's a
fallen.
door in the back. So Negative said that he has like a higher position in the pecking order than the maid and things like that. He's more important because it's personal, and the door he opens the door in the back and he takes care of everything when she's done. And I said to him, are you sure she's a she? I think she's a guy. And he just went, oh, I don't know about that, but I know the butt wiper knows.
That's like the the portable chair that they carry the Pope around on.
Yeah.
Except just make it a toilet and just what was that
Let's
phrase
get it
with
all over
Biden?
with.
That phrase with Biden, now wipe my butt thing.
Yeah.
You remember that? Oh my
Yeah.
God.
I do. And the hair on his legs and the kids and oh my gosh.
Did I mention the correlation that I found out? You remember when Trump said he was Batman to that?
Oh yeah.
Okay. He said he was Batman, and Joe Biden's middle name is Robinette.
Yeah, what a weird name. Yeah.
And just, I think it was, let's give or take about, say, 2.5 weeks ago.
Okay.
I'm not on Twitter, but I can still view on Twitter.
Right.
Like they have my account locked, but I can still view all of
Me
Twitter. I
too.
just can't engage whatsoever.
Yep.
So I checked the trending things, and we'll get to trending news topics correlated with Twitter soon. That's a very interesting observation I made too.
Okay.
But I see Robin trending in the news.
Oh.
Now remember, his name's Robinette.
Yep.
So I click on this trending app, and I see that now in the new DC Comics, Robin is questioning his sexuality. He's not sure if he's gay or not. And we have a president whose middle name is Robinette.
Yeah.
You can't make this stuff up.
Oh, I know.
So when Biden's when Biden's in charge, people question their sexuality. They burn the country down. They do, it's chaos.
I know it's chaos. Well, I think Junior could be playing him at some point. Like he's one of them.
Yeah.
I think.
You ever see that movie? You ever see that movie Gamer with
No, I'm not big on movies, but go ahead, tell me.
You saw the movie Gamer with Gerard Butler, okay? And you saw the concept of that movie. I wouldn't put it past the fact that Junior might have his feet propped up somewhere, really making somebody look like a dummy.
Oh yeah. Well, George News.
I want to play that game.
Yeah, George News, right? You must know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, this just the other day, they've been posting like 1 year delta of when President Trump was in. Well, he still is, but whatever. And there's a lot to do with coding and timestamps and all that. They'll put up 5 pictures and they'll have the actual time they were posted, and it's all coded.
Yeah.
And so anyway, he put up a black and white photo, which isn't common. He doesn't usually do that. So it's noticeable right off. And it was POTUS getting off Air Force One, and he's halfway down, and he's doing one of his side waves. He puts his arm down straight, and he does this little, what I mean? It's just kind of different.
Yeah,
and,
yeah. I know exactly which one you're talking about.
Yeah, it's kind of like a little, hey, I see you, that kind of thing. And so there was, it was the Biden character, okay? Whoever is in the costume that we see the most often
was
standing there, separate from everybody else. So it was very obvious that he was waving at him. And this person plays him. I'm saying plays him because I know it's an act. And he has his hands curled like this. So he's standing there, and his hands are curled under, and he's kind of standing awkwardly. And you can kind of just see, yeah, right here. You kind of see up to here. He looks like such a dork, but it's on purpose, you know? And so that's going to be one of those things that people look back on and go, yeah, remember that black and white with, you know, he was waving at him? That was so-and-so, that was John. Or that was, it's also, you know who else is playing him? This is the one I figured out.
James
Sean
Williams.
Connery.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, Sean Connery. Supposedly Sean Connery died October 31st, right before the election. And he was 90, he's old, you know, but we're talking about, you know, time stuff and healing and all kinds of stuff going on. So
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised.
I hear a lot of rumors, so that, you know, if those are in fact true, that opens up the possibilities for anything.
I know.
I mean, the mind job that you could play on the enemy alone is one thing. You don't want to do it too much to the public, but you want to blow their minds. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
I'm just hoping by the end of all this, like, we as a country have a strengthened vigilance that we'll be able to see this coming from a mile away. It's going to take a whole different kind of game plan for this to ever happen again.
Oh, I know. It's going to be, yeah,
I
everybody will be looking at every detail, and they'll be like, that nose doesn't look right. Yep. Are you sure that's the, you know, later.
And like Trump
are you
said,
sure that's the president of France? Are you sure that's the ambassador of whatever? I mean, everything will be scrutinized. Yeah,
and just like Trump said, you gotta institute patriotic education in the school curriculums, or, you know, and that's a big must. I mean, nowadays you got you could hire any Tom, Dick, and Harry off the street to teach, and next thing you know, your kids are coming home. You spend 3 hours trying to instill something in your kids, and their ideology that they're teaching to your kids just knocks it completely off rail in 15 minutes because it's enforced in the classroom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
my son went off to college. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm just, schools in general, to me,
yeah,
unless they're changed up, they're just simply institutions, re-education, things like that. You know, it's like a big Auschwitz. It's like it honestly is. It truly is.
I can't stand school.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just that. It's the handshakes between them, the federal government, between pharma, between everything. Once you start mapping it together and follow the money, as said, it's like, wow, all this time, you know?
Yeah, I remember when I was reading way back about Obamacare, before our favorite Anon came along. I try to remember to say things like that so I don't get caught up. But yeah, and they were supposedly going to get MRIs for schools, you know, the MRI machine, and all the kids' medical data. And it was supposedly to track their development in MRI.
No, it's not. It's to inventory us like product.
I mean, I haven't heard of that actually happening, but you know what? Who knows? It could be somewhere. I wouldn't put anything past them. Well, I would think they'd be going now, you know, because things are turning around, but still. And all their medical data was going to be open, because you had to give their medical data.
Oh, so it's fully transparent for them too.
Fully.
Oh, wow.
And that's, you know what that is? That involved, when you think about that, there's absolutely no privacy. That's blackmail material.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah. Isn't that what Epstein was doing that for his own safeguarding down there too, wasn't he? Wasn't he taking they had them on video or something like that? And
there were cameras everywhere.
Things.
Yeah.
I heard he had to, you know, watch his own six as far as, you know, getting data on the comings and goings.
Yeah. I hear a funny knocking sound, but I don't know what it is. I can't help it. Hopefully it's not my husband making noise. Oh, it's probably a woodpecker. Do you hear it?
I do now.
Yeah. Sometimes the woodpeckers get really confused and they come over and peck at the house.
I had one tapping on my window. It almost started breaking it. They hit hard.
Really? Oh my God.
They hit hard, yeah.
Wow. Well, I have vinyl siding, so I'm a little confused as to why, they're not going to find a bug. Well, maybe underneath it, the edge, the lip of it, maybe they find something.
Oh, you got all the caulking and stuff in
Yeah,
there. So when they poke at it and it's soft, they probably think it's like some sort of worm or something, start picking at it.
they probably do.
Next thing you know, you got water coming in your window.
I know. I don't need that. I've already had leaks. I have a relatively new house. I've already had like leaks everywhere.
Yeah.
That's why I don't need a woodpecker making a hole in my house.
It's always a journey.
It's a journey. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, me and animals. I have my cat. See my cat? She doesn't ever look up. You see?
Oh, yeah.
See the face. That's the face.
Halfway to sleeping already.
I know. Yeah, she's a funny thing. And she snores.
Does she really?
She snores, yeah. She started doing it when she got older, It's just, the vet said, oh, she's just getting old. Don't tell me that. I don't want to hear that. I don't want her to, Anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, I wanted to tell you. Okay. This is good. Okay. Because we can talk about that. I couldn't get it done on my thing that I've been working on. So I can talk to you about it and hear what you think about it. Because it's kind of like what you're saying with the Mel Gibson video. It's the same idea. So it's that video that Negative 48 channels recommended. And it's an interview from, holy cow, that's loud. September 2nd, 63. So a couple months before 11/22, right? And it's an interview with Walter Cronkite, who is as Kabbalah's I'll get out. You probably don't know who that is, but
is that no, Aleister Crowley was before him even.
Yeah, right. I think
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he's like when he would close the CBS News, he always said, "And that's the way it is."
Yes, yeah,
Because
yeah.
we're the CIA and we have control over everything, and that's the way it is,
And that's
that's
changing now.
I know. So I have to look at notes. I'm not great,
Yeah,
remembering stuff, but that's
absolutely
me. I'm going to get a brain upgrade. I know at the end of all this. I know our DNA is going to be great. It's going to be the way it's supposed to be. And everything's going to be perfect, just like Garden of Eden. Like, you know what I mean? I really do think that.
I have extremely high hopes. If the med beds are a thing, I'm going to take 2 doses. I have not been kind to myself over the years.
Yeah.
So
everybody can say, don't feel bad. I wasn't either.
Yeah, some of the things we had to do and become as people just to, I don't know. I was thinking about it. And it's like, we're born into this. So because you're born into it, you don't really fixate your eyes on the fact that something like this governs the system you're born into. And then when you find out about it, you're like, well, how? The next question should be, how long has this been going on? So
from day one,
what I took notice to is during this Great Awakening movement is the moment people started wondering, well, how long has this been going on? It's like some jerk over here hits a red button for cancel culture to happen. Hurry up, burn it down, tear it down. Everything's racist. Everything's offensive. You can't let your emotions steer the ship. If you're actually sailing and you're an emotional captain, that's probably going to go bad. Or an emotional pilot, like imagine that, just real bad day at home, and you bring it home and there's 170 passengers and they all got to suffer your emotional.
Oh gosh, I never thought about that.
I offended a bunch of people because in the beginning I've been trying to watch my mouth. I let my mouth fly a lot of the times. I'm trying to work on my decency here. So I let it. You're
not going to bother me, so whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
No, you won't hear it come out of my mouth. Okay. But I told her, you said, F your emotions. That's not what any of this is about. How dare you? You said you were a Christian. I was like, I am, but there's also, there's warrior Christians. There's Christians who meow, and there's Christians who roar. Like, if you're going to run with this ostrich effect that the church had you in of consistently turn your cheek and get beat down,
Oh, your
so your
doormat.
head's in the sand. I was
Yeah.
like, you're comfortable with the head in the sand and you want me to feel bad about it, but I'm not going to.
No.
Screw your emotions, use your brain, and let's, get a little bit more machine on facts here.
Yeah.
I'm done talking to someone like you. I was like, well, okay. I mean, I got good sleep up until this point. I'll continue, but
Yeah, it's their loss, right?
yeah. And then later on, I have to do this because this is refreshing to me. You troll them for a little bit. You
I've
watch
done
it.
that.
If they
done
don't
that.
block you,
I hate to
you
even
sit there and
say
you
I did
watch
that.
them quietly from a distance, like George McFly up in the tree staring at Lorraine. Like, you look at them, and next thing you know, they're talking about the same thing they were just arguing with you about 6 months ago, and you're like, there you go.
There you
I'll
go.
pray for you from a distance, but at least you got it.
That's hysterical. Love it.
This I don't know, you probably noticed it too, instead of coming together, the competitive intelligence.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm gonna have a superhero job. No, I'm gonna have one. Okay,
That's nice.
I'll be here.
That's nice, honey. Oh my gosh. So
that's Hollywood bleeding out of the blood too.
Right.
Everybody trying to best the other.
I know. Or like you go to the high school reunion and, well, who's got the nice car?
Yeah, they're all married, but they're looking for the hot guy, like the quarterback from back in the, like, where is he? And their husbands are like, oh, we got to see who he is.
I know. It's pitiful. It's pitiful. Oh my gosh. Well, that interview is full of comms. I mean, I guess I shouldn't have been surprised that he would be giving us comms, JFK,
Yeah.
for now. Okay. He knew from all this stuff, I won't go into everything, but from all this stuff in this interview, when you look at the timestamps and you look at the word or the phrase he said at certain timestamps, that's how I look at lots of stuff on video. And it's like telling a story. He's telling a story to us right now. He knew what was going to happen. And guess what? It was fake. It was not. They saw somebody, they did see something. It was a clone. I am 100% sure of that.
I heard Jackie was not made aware of the whole scenario as well.
Well, I wondered if she might have been a clone, because would you have let your...
I don't know. I mean, it still breaks my heart to watch her crawl over the trunk trying to get out of the car after the shot. Anyway,
she was going after his brain. Did you know that? Part of his brain. That's what it was.
You're telling me she stayed on point like that to keep it together, things.
I know.
Listen. If that's the angle to keep things tactically where they need to be,
that's what it is.
That's what it is. I don't think I would have been able to work under that pressure. That's
well, they knew over a dozen people were going to shoot. They knew that, and that's why the Secret Service got called off. Remember that? I don't know if you've watched any Secret Service interviews about all that. Guys who, I think they're passing away one by one, but there's videos of interviews, and they'll go, in their earpiece, they're going, all of a sudden they got called off. They got called off, and they all backed off, and everybody's like, okay, so was the Secret Service in on it? A lot of people would blame them. Of course, they went after Johnson. I know he was involved.
Well, you had
Bush. We know HW. We know all that.
You had Bush standing right off to the side.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But the
sure being director of the CIA,
was not involved. The Secret Service wasn't involved, but it made them look like they were involved.
Well, as far as the Secret Service, somebody sent me a photo, like a color enhanced video of that in slow motion. And if you watch where he's sitting, because Jackie's to his left in the back seat, the guy right in front of him has a pistol. It looks like he turns around with a pistol and just hits him right in the face.
Could have been, yeah. I hadn't seen that. Wow.
Right from the front seat. It looks like they did it right from the front seat. Like, because you see something in his hand. And then somebody was coming up with their own theories that he was throwing pop packets and things like that and stuff to make the gunshot noises. But you could see in the video, unless it's edited, you never know anymore. But he turns around, it looks like he has a small, like maybe a 380 or a small 9. I mean, you're talking what, 2.5 feet
Yeah, you're
away
right
from
there.
JFK. So
Huh.
yeah,
Well, that could very well be. I mean, if you
a
saw
lot of
it.
different
So,
angles. People, yeah.
wow.
I'm still trying to get my mind wrapped around no planes hitting the Twin Towers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a friend of mine, well, I'm sure you know what, well, gosh, what is your name? Oh, it's not a close friend, obviously. I remember her name right off. She lives in New Jersey. We used to talk. It's on the tip of my tongue. She changed her name and it got me all confused on Twitter.
Jersey.
Well, anyway,
Wasn't
she's
Sonia, was it?
no. I'll think of it. I get like this. That's
There were
why
a
I
couple
take
from
notes.
Jersey I
That's
was
why I
really
have
good
notes,
with.
because my memory is like ridiculous. It's just
No,
like,
things are just flying. I got to do the same thing. Quick, jot something down before you forget it.
yeah.
Yep.
Colleen. Well, her real name is Colleen, but I can't think of what her handle was. That's
Right.
Well, anyway, she was working near the building with the World Trade Center and way high. And she said, Kathy, I saw the planes. You know what I mean? She was there, she was up there, and she saw that, well, they were a hologram, but you can't tell her that. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because it was so believable. But there is no emblems on the plane. There's no, what do you call it? It was American and United, right? It wasn't it?
Or was it Delta and American?
Delta.
No, American and United. I believe you're right.
Yeah. Oh, and another thing. Yeah. So there's no markings on these things. There is no. I bet if you go back and look, you still won't find any unless
Have you
somebody
seen the
doctored a
video?
video.
Have you seen the video that was circulating when it passed the building, the whole glitch in the wing? Like the
No, no.
physics, all right, the physics of the plane, this couldn't have happened. It was
Right.
coming from behind the building, but the
Yeah.
wing came through the building as it
Oh yeah, I saw that.
coming
I
past
did.
it.
I forgot.
I'm like, oh wow. I mean, I play video games, so I look at that stuff like, wow, that's odd.
Yeah, there you
That
go.
pilot's good. How'd he do that?
Yeah. Can you levitate yourself too? I don't know if you know. I don't know if I've told you, or every time 9/11 would come around, I would kind of bring it up because it was still bothers me a little bit. Not that I think planes did that. That's not what I mean. But people did disappear.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean that part of it. Yeah. So my husband was supposed to be on one of the planes. So, and he didn't go. He
Really?
was supposed to go, and then he was taking the place of somebody at work. Moving up in the company. And the guy said, no, you were going to go, but I'm going to go. And so this guy and a woman, I'm getting hoarse. This guy and a woman from the office, there was a company called CompuWare in Nashua, New Hampshire. And and whenever they would, because they were like a team, and when they would go somewhere, they would go together. And I don't know why exactly, but they went together, but they went separately every single time, because the meetings were so important. They were like, well, you take a copy, I'll take a copy. We're going to take separate planes, and if something happens, like what they're thinking is a delay. You know what I mean? Not like this. And so they took the two planes that left Boston. That the guy took one and the woman took the other, and Bob was supposed to be the guy. And I still upsets me, obviously. It upsets me, period. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be because of Bob, but
I mean,
it's very close,
Yep.
And we were down in Boston.
That's a double whammy for you guys, because not only did you yourself dodge a bullet in your own personal house, but you also lost as well.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Bob.
Yeah,
you know,
I wasn't that tied into the 9/11 as far as losing anybody that
yeah,
I'm aware of. But I remember that scene, and me and my friend were sitting on the back of his patio with the news playing, and we didn't even really watch the news at that time.
yeah.
Turned around, he's like, "Yo, the World Trade Center got hit." I was like, "What?" As soon as I saw the second one, me and him looked at each other, and we had our kids in daycare at the time. I was like, he's like, "Do you want to go out West Coast?" And even when that was happening, no to the West Coast.
I don't think so.
I was like, no West Coast, dude. There's no way I'm going out West. He's like, why? I was like, I don't know. I just got a
Yeah,
bad vibe about the West Coast. I don't know what it is. Then you hear what California is called and everything else. And,
right.
you know, reasons for everything. And
Yeah,
nowadays it's like, here's all the reasons this happened. And it's like, wow.
yeah,
If you spend a lot of time, especially with the gematria and stuff, rather than looking for a story, spend some time in lessons of self-awareness as you do your studies. It'll take you through a journey where you don't need God to convict you. You'll convict yourself.
exactly.
It helps you highlight things
Bro,
that you need to cut out of yourself too. So
yeah,
it's a
I
very
had
interesting
noticed
tool.
that actually.
Yeah.
I mention it. Yeah.
Yeah, like I just recently quit a 29-year smoking habit. Grace
Oh,
of God.
congratulations.
Thank you. I'm
Oh
not
my
totally
gosh.
off of it. I'm still doing the whole vape thing,
That's okay.
but I'm setting that aside. But yeah, but a lot of the things lately since then, it's like I'll get on YouTube and it's like, it's not like I'm watching guys and girls work out. That's not my work history. You'll see Wano Savin up there. You'll see your channel up there and everybody who's in the same frame of mind as me. So
Yeah.
when you get on YouTube and all of a sudden it's like, hey, fat boy, you got to work out. You
Aw,
gotta take better care of yourself. Get out of the house more. Because it's like, I know, Lord, because you know who's doing it.
you're
He's right
so
there. Hey,
funny.
chubby, you're Pillsbury Doughboy. You got to get out of the house and get moving. It's like, I know, but I'm addicted to learning. I really am. This whole thing,
Yeah,
it's
I can
exciting.
tell. You're so smart and inquisitive, And
No,
that's how you get smart because
I
you're
have,
inquisitive.
I have a very, very active imagination, artistically and everything else.
Yeah.
So Q had me at Think Revelation when he posted that. He had me hook, line, and sinker at that. Aranon had me
Oh,
hook,
yeah.
line, and sinker from the jump.
Oh,
And it's
yeah.
interesting because I did some number work with Aranon's post, and when he talks about 1909, it led me to Media, Pennsylvania, which is down in Delaware, Biden territory.
Okay.
I haven't quite
Huh.
figured it out yet, but the media thing, I think the way the numbers led me to the zip code in media, it it led me there, and it's like Aranon, was hinting at fake news media and Biden's ties to it, and this, that, and the other, and Biden's from Delaware and everything else. And
Yeah.
Biden's been saying some interesting stuff lately. He's
Hmm.
I mean, I should honestly, should we just tie it into the whole Tesla thing that we were
Oh,
talking about
sure.
before we
Sure.
started? All right, so everyone was talking about Tesla, and this will take us through ancient Mesopotamia and my questions I've been trying to reach out about because I have so many questions regarding this. It it has to do with electricity. So me and Jutsi were sitting there one day and we're like, well, what about 369? Well, I was born on June 30th, 1980. Okay. So when you take those three segments, 6, 30, 1980, and you segregate them and add them up, you have 6, no zeros allowed, we know. So it'd be 6, 3, and 1980 fully reduces. I don't know if you know what I mean by fully reducing.
Yeah. I don't do
One,
it lately, but
one,
I know what you mean.
1 plus 9 plus 8. You know what I mean? So 9 plus 8 is 17 plus 1 is 18. 1
Yeah.
plus 8 equals 9. And then you bring it down until you can't, you keep adding until you can go no further.
That's it. Hmm.
Yeah. So my birth code ends up being 639.
Oh.
And I said that to Jesse. I go, well, what do you know? Look at that. And, this is how everything started with, I guess some might call it narcissistic work, but it's not narcissistic if you have questions unanswered about yourself. I was
Great.
like, Jesse, what are the chances that I have 369? She does hers. She
Mhm.
has her own variation. We start just playing around with these numbers.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there looking at it like, okay, this, let's type in where I was born. Now I was born in Bethlehem. So I type in Bethlehem and it starts right away, it starts coming through all of this stuff. He's like, you were born in Bethlehem? I was like, yeah, I was born in Bethlehem. She goes,
Oh my
don't you think
gosh.
it's interesting that Donald Trump is talking about steel?
Right.
I was like, why? Because the Bethlehem Steel that used to be here. We used to have the Bethlehem Steel before everything got, pushed out to Pittsburgh and stuff. I was like, what are the chances?
Yeah.
I don't think nothing of it. She's like, well, where were you born? I was like, well, I gave her the logo of my hospital, which is the Bethlehem Star.
Yeah.
And she goes, that's the logo of your hospital. I was like, yeah, St. Luke's.
Yeah.
And she goes, St. Luke's in Bethlehem, where there was a steel. What's the name of the county? I go, Lehigh. She goes, Lehigh. And then I started playing with numbers. I go, oh shit, high L. Like,
yeah, right.
high L. She goes,
Wow.
I was like, I don't know. I was like, high L, low valley, because it's called Lehigh Valley.
I see, yeah.
And then she sits there and she said, we're cracking up. We're going on for hours. And she's like, what are the neighboring towns? And this, I said, well, you have Nazareth over here. You have Easton, where, you have Easton down this way. If you came all the way through, you have Allentown, Reading, and then you go through, and there's this little town over here that I used to play in called Egypt.
Wow.
She goes, are you kidding? Yeah, I said, no. I was
you went to Egypt.
Right?
After you got your birthday presents from the wise man.
And I'm sitting there, I'm just sitting there listening to everything like, this is pretty wild stuff. I wonder if that was deliberate, what they named it. And then I'm sitting there, a day goes by, and I start thinking about my county, that you have a county code as well. Because if we're doing all kinds of codes, think about zip code, think about area code, with your phones, and, think about these things because you were born into them. So it's like, why those numbers for this area?
Right.
I started thinking about that. And my county code is ABE, Allentown, Bethlehem, Easton. Oh. And my airport code is LVI. If you put them together, it makes Abel VI, like Cain and Abel.
Yeah.
ABELVI.
Good one.
Abel 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It is interesting.
I heard you say that JFK had V scars on him. Junior did.
Yeah, and as far as I know, so did JFK. I can't say I saw anything, but
does anyone know
the way Jackie was looking at him? There's a really good interview. You don't even have to listen to the whole thing. It's more like near the end. Yeah, or maybe it's the middle. Well, anyway, Dr. McCullum. He was a young doctor, and he was at the hospital, at Parkland Hospital, and he was standing at the head of JFK. So he was there for the whole trying to save him, who wasn't him. Yeah. Anyway. And Jackie came in. She kept coming in from out in the hallway. She kept coming into the emergency room, OR, I should say. And they were kept, ushering her back out, but she kept coming in and looking at him. And she was seeing, now I don't know, like, was it a clone that was, because clones can recognize people, right? You know what I mean? Like, they don't have the soul, but they would know who somebody is.
I would think from, I don't know anything about the clones thing, but I would think they'd have to make a complete match on the genetics, on the DNA coding to create the clone in the first place. So maybe by a cognitive, there would be some sort of remnant within the, the DNA structure of it. That would be my guess, but that's
I know it's just a guess too. Yeah.
That's an impossibility that seems very possible from the way people are talking these days of existing. You know what I mean? So take everything with a grain of salt. You never know.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I can be completely wrong. Obviously, I say that all the time.
Yeah,
I do a lot of conjectures.
Yeah.
That's
I
just the
sit
way it
here
goes.
in my small little valley, living in nostalgia and stuff. We do a pretty good job of hanging on to tradition around here. But
Yeah,
it's like once you get up and out of the valley, the horizon's a lot bigger. World's a big place,
I know.
big
Well,
but
she just
small.
seemed like, she was acting like it wasn't him, so that's, I guess, what I was asking about, would she
She had like
recognize?
almost like a cold demeanor about it.
Yeah, kind of very, very quiet, not like all upset for one thing,
Yeah.
and she
Uh,
exchanged on that interview with Dr. McCullum. It has to be the right interview though. He's done a ton of interviews,
yeah.
and it's the one where you can see JFK walking down Air Force One steps. It's in color, so that's the correct interview to look at.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she comes in and she ends up, she kept looking at his face and, like I said, not crying.
Mhm.
And she'd go back out and wait. And people in the hall, they talked about it afterwards, said she was all very quiet. She wasn't like all upset, So that's like a big red flag right there.
It is a big red flag.
Big one.
That is a loving mother
Yeah.
trying to stay in character and get business done. Like that right there is a queen who's stuck by her king.
Yeah. I don't, yeah.
Well, Jackie was
either
quiet. No kidding, because Jackie was in a hurry to get back to Jack.
Yeah, right. I don't know. So anyway, so at the end, when they said they couldn't save him, whoever that was, she went in and exchanged wedding rings. And to me, that was for identification, and then
It's all the little confirms that people need to. It's like kind of sweeping your footprints in the snow that
right,
you never went this way.
right. So
Right.
then his foot, I think it was his right foot. Now I can't remember, was out from underneath the sheet.
Mhm.
And she went down and, okay, now would you have done this? Let me see. Would you have done this? I wouldn't have done this. She kissed his foot. Okay. She went down and kissed his foot. And I think she was looking for the scars. So one reason with the wedding ring could have been the ID inside the band, with to and from and the wedding date and all that. Also could have been to see, did he have the scar in his hand, the scar on his foot that she could see? And that's just what I'm thinking, And like I said, I can be completely wrong. Obviously, I'm always wrong. I'm wrong about a lot of stuff. Yeah. And so at the end of that interview with Dr. McCullum, this is fascinating. Right at the very, very end. So if you want to just see that part, just go to the end. And he brings out like a clear plastic package, and it's got his jacket that he wore in the OR that day. And he said he didn't want to keep it, but his wife said, no, you should keep it. And he said, all right, whatever you say. And so he brought it in. And in other interviews, he doesn't do that. And you know what that is? That's DNA proof right there. And I'm like, that's the first thing I thought of when I saw that. That's it.
Like a modern day Shroud of Turin.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
And that, speaking of that, in the Jesus strand, I know you hadn't caught up with that yet, but in the Shroud of Turin from that documentary, there was no Jewish blood there. It was, I have a hard time saying it, Druze, Druze.
Yeah, I heard actually that is I believe it was part 1, and they were talking about Abraham Lincoln being a part of the
thing. Yeah, that's the only part I've seen then. I haven't seen the other.
Which takes me back to what I was talking about with the county code. Abe Lincoln.
There you go. Yeah. And all those coincidences between
are we being lied to about Abel being killed in the Bible? Because you have honest Abe.
There you go. I wonder.
Abe L. Yeah.
Was that changing that? I mean, think about that. They changed stuff in the Bible. They dropped stuff out. Whatever. They could have done that to separate people. They could have done. They're trying to always separate us.
Yeah. Let's put it this way. That Rabbi Finkelstein interview when he's on the radio show talking about the heinous things that they do, very proud about it. You know what I mean? He even talks about how the Jewish, with their particular sect, you know, they always fracture everything like glass, and they go to this
Yes.
sect, but this
Yeah.
sect quietly handshakes with this one over here, but the same agenda, but they'll gladly bite each other in the ass to get success.
Right, right.
You know, it's I don't understand that world. That's chaos to me. But he said that the top 3 floors were owned by Jewish bankers, and they evacuated everything from down. I guess there was a treasury in those buildings too. And they were out of those buildings before they even came down. Like, oh, we got to get our shit out of here. It's going
I
down.
kind of had heard that, but I was like, oh, you know, that was before I investigated things.
Yeah. And then you got to
So,
remember
I
who
heard
was
that.
dancing. You got to remember who was dancing in the street when they
Oh,
fell.
I know. It's so
A lot
sick.
of people are screaming, "Oh my God, Muslims jihad!" But it was Israelites dancing in the streets, from what I saw as well.
Yeah,
You know, so it's you know,
I know.
hey man,
There's bad people in all the,
pray for your enemies. You know,
yeah.
the golden rule is a hell of a rule, and Trump loves getting even.
Oh, I know. Remember when they asked him, what's your favorite Bible phrase?
Oh yeah,
An eye for an eye.
eye for an eye. That's right. That's right.
I love it.
That was another weird thing. It was like another weird confirm for me.
Mhm.
I was doing research on Ishtar,
Yeah.
and I saw for her Mesopotamian hieroglyph that, you know, she stands with one foot on top of a lion, and there's chains that she's holding on to like a leash that go up into his teeth. Okay.
Oh.
And she has wings, and from behind her wings are pipes, like bagpipes.
Oh. Huh.
Okay. And this picture is the same exact definition of Satan, born with pipes and great pipes and all those things. It's written about in the Bible. And I ran that past Jutsi. I said, so Satan was really beautiful, really beautiful. Who's to say that Satan was, you know, what are we dealing with today? We have the feminine versus the masculine. You know, that's something that's going on. You got this, you know, women versus men thing. They don't even know how to come together anymore, and it's 2021. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Like,
oh, I know. This is old stuff, people. Get over it.
Yeah. And you know, I said to her, I go, you know, look at the pipes. And she's like, what do you mean? And I threw the scripture in front of her. I was like, I mean, are we looking at, because Ishtar goes by many names. She goes by Inanna. She goes by Lilith.
I've gotten that come up quite a bit.
Yeah, so when the Catholic Church tried to remove the name Lilith from their scripture, you have to understand how they can scapegoat in the name of Jesus. And one of the reasons is in Sumerian, there's variations. You have a god named Ea, okay? That's really telling you that the pronunciation, the sound of the words, you know, words are power. You know, if you remember the phrase in the beginning, the word was God, the word was with God. Yeah. Words themselves define your every aspect of an energetic existence. Yeah. So how you speak and how you relay to other people defines your stance towards said individual. Yeah. So if you take E can also sound like A, ah. Mm-hmm. All right. So I started doing this with the name of Jesus, and J can also be I, J can be Y, and then ESUS, A, Z, IZ, or SIS, IASIS. Oh. So they're trying to fit Isis, which is Ishtar, which is Inanna, which is Lilith, into the name of Jesus.
Figures, doesn't it?
It's interesting. So when Juan was saying at that Jennifer Mack interview, that Easter Mike Easter.
Yep.
Done. That's exactly where I went to it. As soon as he mentioned Ishtar, I just got done with something with Jutsi relating to that. Yeah. And now this is where it starts turning into where you might not even need gematria for the old stuff to understand we all used to speak one language. Right. Ishtar's twin brother, was named Utu, U-T-U.
Yeah, I remember that now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now, Utu if you listen to his name, Utu, you already know that U is going to be you, and there's no other sound in the alphabet that's going to really even come close that you could mix it up with. So instead of writing TU, just write the number 2. Now you're talking about U2, the band, with Sonny. Okay, Sonny, what's his name? Sonny Bono is his name from U2.
Yeah, he's not dead either, but go ahead.
No. And do you remember when the iPhones first came out? What was the one thing that he did with his phones? U2 started that red revolution.
Right. I remember now. Yeah.
Rig for red, all of these things. Keep this all in mind. So I'm sitting there thinking, okay, Sonny. Now, when you go back and you study Utu and you study Ishtar and you study Baal, they come from the house of the sun, Hadad.
Okay.
You know, okay. In Egypt, they called it Helios, house of Hadad, Helios. It's all how house of the sun. Okay. So I'm sitting there thinking about this play on words. I go, is it just me, or do these celebrities and these elite, they're not deceived? Like they're hiding the truth purposely from us, and we're supposed to be damned for it. So I start going on. Now I tie it into Norse mythology because we have Project Odin going on.
Right. I was getting into that, but not too deep.
And do you remember me always playing like the Viking music and stuff like that with some of my posts on Twitter? And I was like, man, I love old primitive music and stuff like that. It's where we started coming into music, that I love that old sound of what it used to be, because it's, we're pampered these days. We have all this technology and stuff, and it's like what they had to do to make music. Like, I still appreciate it still.
Yeah.
So I started thinking about Project Odin. Now, Odin's line, according to history, goes down to Ragnar Lothbrok, however you want to. There's different couple pronunciations for his name. He had a son named Ube. Okay. Now, Ube, if U2 is U2, what is the second letter in the alphabet?
UB.
UB. And you spell his name UBBE. So if God is I am and his son is UB, I am what you'll be. So when I'm not king anymore, you will be king, father and son.
Yeah, so I just got a decode just even today, or was it last night? And it says, you are all gods. I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
Yeah. I mean, you figure if your God is the creator of all, you're going to have inherent traits to creators.
I was wondering, why don't we have like, I say this often, but why don't we all have Rh negative blood? I was wondering about that. Because if Jesus did, and that's the line, and we're made in the image of God, why don't we?
Well, you had
not seeing something.
We are currently hands down in the middle of a blood war. It's a blood feud.
Right.
Okay? Hands down, it's always been. It's two that should be heir to a throne. Okay, and one's killing the other for dominance of it, and that's why they've been in control for so long. That's my take on it. That's my take. Abraham Lincoln, for instance, going back to the Abel thing. Let's say they never killed Abel. They just kept him in a dead state. So when you hear the Bible talk about an abomination of desolation, okay, it sounds like something that's going to bring poverty. But if you listen real close to the phrase work of it, abomination of desolation. Well, what is desolation? Poverty. So if you're an abomination, you're an entity coming from a place of poverty. Now think about how the elect view us. If you don't have money, you're not worth anything. You should just be killed. I even heard Cardi B talking about, in her lyrics, if you're poor, you shouldn't get vagina, basically, so you can't continue your seed. But she likes her little P word, so we're not gonna not gonna go into her flavor. It's quite disgusting, actually. But
I think she's probably been replaced anyway. But
I pay attention to a lot of Hollywood and a lot of things going on in there right now, because they predict what's to come. Now, you heard about this this new strain, the Mu virus.
No, I hadn't heard that. No.
Oh, the MU strain now. They're trying to link this in with
Ooh.
coronavirus. Right. And now you have this rising pop star, this Doja Cat. You think about Elon Musk and Doja
Oh, wait,
Coin.
Doja? Yeah, I was just gonna say, I
Okay.
think I've been talking about this for a while now.
Okay. Well,
I mean,
Doja
I'm not
Cat
a
came out with
financial
a song.
advisor. I'm
She
not.
came out with a song called Moo,
Okay,
roughly about maybe a year, 2 years
okay.
ago. Now we got this Moo strain, and her name sounds like Doja crypto coin that Elon Musk is dealing with. Elon's weird, man. He's
Oh, the Dogecoin, okay.
yeah.
I got a decode. Uh, okay, I got a decode, and it was, I always forget exactly how these go, but the point of it was, Doge, spelled backwards, is God, electric God, God. And I think that's how come it got its name, electric God. And I think it's going to be around after all this.
It's possible. I'm curious about that particular cryptocurrency, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Going back to Tesla, the Tesla
Right.
stuff, and the 369. I sat there and I thought about alternating currency, direct current. Well, actually, the phrase was alternating current, direct current, two separate currencies of electricity, right? So two separate, if you think about watch the water, flows of energy, okay? So you got alternating current, direct current. I type them both in, alternating current, direct current, one phrase into Gematria, and we start scrolling down, and I see my name at the bottom of this database.
That's what, oh my goodness gracious.
I just got done talking about anagrams and visual effects of numbers to Jutsi, where I said, well, what if the Q wasn't a Q? What if it was actually a 9? Because if you look at Q and you hit Q in lowercase numbers,
yeah,
Q looks like a number 9.
And 9 is what, the highest number, it's special, and then 99 is most high.
9 is most high before it would reset back to 1, because there is no 10.
I only knew that from negative. I wasn't smart.
So if there is no 10, what were they worshiping in Egypt when they were worshiping Aten?
Oh.
Somebody wants to be a perfect 10, but he can't have it.
Wow. Yes.
Right.
Were you around when we were talking about on Twitter, when we were talking about the old was it Aleph? It was the Aleph letter in Hebrew, and it was the old one, like the original one that is hard to find, Aleph, and it looks like a twisted coil from a Tesla coil. Like you can see through it if you turn the letter.
Is it kind of like an X? Looks like an X almost.
Yeah, kind of. I saw a video on it, and I don't remember if it was called the Electric God or I can't find it again. That's the problem. I would love to see it again. It's really short and anyway, he showed the that letter, and he turned it like 3D. Like if you saw it turned, and it looks like it's part of a coil, a Tesla coil. And you know what Negative said? He said that we're all Tesla coils. And I don't know if he's talking about our DNA. He didn't explain that part.
Yep. Yeah. If you look into Taoism, Tao, it's from Asia, and you listen to what they say. There's a guy named Manik Chi, Manik, and last name is Chi, and he was on London Talk. The guy who does London Talk was giving him a conversation, and he was saying that the human body is like a bio battery. So if you think about the way a car battery works, you have to use distilled water to fill up your battery cells. And what's the one thing you're looking for? pH balance between acidity and alkalinity. So the same thing should be, the same thing should be the water you intake. Roughly about a 7.4, 7. I'd probably go 8 pH. That way you're just one notch in the alkaline. Because if you're too acidic, I guess your body kind of is more
Oh, that's when you
susceptible.
got cancer issues and all
And
the
that's when you're
diseases.
more susceptible to the serpent side of things, you know, the
Exactly.
acidity in your blood. And yeah.
Huh.
So they start talking about how, you know, what he said was you know, you let the light in and stuff like that. And I always take it to extremes. I'm like, well, let the light in.
Not
You
you.
just got done talking about the human eye and how the pupil and everything kind of looks like the design of a black hole. Exactly.
Yeah.
And how your eye color looks like star nebulas. I was like,
I
so
saw that. Oh my gosh, yes. The sun.
what is the darkest place that hell must exist? Probably a black hole. You know what? I'm going to go outside and sun gaze and let some light in.
Yeah, right, right. You poor thing.
So I went outside and I started doing this with prayer time. And
Yeah.
I'm saying in the back of my head, I was like, pain is coming. I'm sitting there thinking about the Q post. This is going to hurt, right?
Oh my gosh.
It's noontime. I'm staring directly at the sun with no sunglasses whatsoever. And I see around the sun, it starts looking like prismatic. You know, it looks
Right.
like the sun's going to explode. The longer you stare at it, you'd be surprised what that thing starts looking like. It's pretty crazy looking.
Well, I know people that sun gaze. I've tried to do it. You start a little bit at a time.
Right. Here's the thing about it is that is an old practice. That
Okay.
is a very old practice. That was part of prayer time in ancient Egypt and things like that. And if you look at cats, dogs, anything, when they're outside, they'll look right at the sun. They'll look right at it.
Yeah.
It's like, well, why, you know, animals they're not tied down to our system of things. So there's a natural order in the animal kingdom, and maybe we could learn a little something from it. I'm not kidding. Like I do some sun gazing in the morning. I'm not that big on it, but
Right.
you know, I'm not so sure I should be going into an eye doctor and getting laser surgery when natural light might be
Right.
a healing factor in correcting eyes and stuff. And of course, you got medical and everybody. Don't look at it. Don't look at sun is bad. And you got people like Bill Gates. We got to dim it. We got to dim the sun now.
Or like the eclipse. I still don't get why the heck they make you look through a pinprick of the paper and all that stuff with an eclipse. That doesn't seem like that could hurt you.
I
Right?
don't know. I trust Donald Trump's education. He put the
Right.
glasses on when he.
Oh, he did?
Yeah,
I don't know. I just,
I saw the picture of him wearing the glasses, looking up at it with Barron and Melania. I was like, I'll take his word for it.
okay, I didn't see that. Okay.
I'm not
Okay.
going to try that one.
I don't know. He also brought fast food in for the football team at the White House. I don't know.
He had a shit-eating grin on him about that one,
Oh
didn't he?
yeah, that was all comms. There was like
Yeah.
17 candles, and there was, I don't know, there was all kinds of stuff, and you could count the stacks, and
Hopefully most of them were fish fillet.
that's the only thing I trust, and I don't even know if that's a good idea.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, because they can mess with so many things, that chemicals and the breading. I mean, they could do anything they wanted to.
Yeah.
I'm a little paranoid that there's going to be stuff in there that will completely freak me out. And I think we're going to find out, you know. So what Negative said is, no, I only remember part of what he said. It's so frustrating. Maybe you heard it too.
I probably did.
You've been binging.
I've been listening for the past 2 days. There's been a lot of discussion going on.
Okay, I've been kind of out of touch.
Yeah, no, I really like what he's doing with the open chat channel, because it's
Wonderful.
you know, it warms my heart to hear people actually be there to support one another, and you know, unbiasedly. It doesn't even matter how crazy you sound. They want to know what direction you're coming from.
Yeah, that's
and
so
if they
true.
can try to help you, they help you. They try to keep things linear, and everybody's trying to pile on them. I get it. I mean, I get it, but that's huge. That's huge, because that's you know, there's times even in my studies, I get really cooked up spiritually about things, and it's
yeah.
you know, I'm not one to get real angry, but like, I don't know, Lord's lighting a fire under my ass about something. He has me embracing being angry about things, and you know, it's a very interesting walk. I hope I'm doing well, you know.
I think you're doing great.
I hope so.
Oh my gosh. Well, Negative said that we're going to have, well, I think it was when I asked a question about Christmas. I said, are we going to celebrate Christmas the same way that we have in the past? Because like I didn't say this part, I don't think, but like, I don't want to get a Christmas tree, different things like that. I feel like it's just awful. You know what I mean?
Um,
And he's so this is what he said. He said, he's paused. There was a big pause, and that's unusual to me to hear him, because usually he's like right there.
right,
There was a
right.
big pause, and he said, I think everything's going to, basically, you don't have to worry about it. Everything's going to change before Christmas. That's what he said. And he said, I got that part okay. He said, we're going to have 3 days to prepare. He didn't say when. And I don't know what that exactly means. 3 days to prepare.
Right.
And then he mentioned 3 days. I might have it wrong. Maybe it was more than 3 days of 8-hour per day, like facts just thrown at us, like all the truth coming out.
Yeah.
I might have been, like I might have been wrong about the 3 days, but it was something like that.
Yeah.
So 3 days to get ready, then that, or whatever the number was, and it changes before Christmas. And that don't worry about, because I was like, well, the family doesn't get it. The family doesn't get it, and they're all going to be here. My daughter's coming from the West Coast. Well, no, she moved. Sorry, she was in the West Coast. She just moved near Chicago. But anyway, so they're coming, and it's a big deal. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
And there's little kids in the family that and everybody makes a big deal over the little kids and Santa, Satan, Claus. You know what I mean?
I'm going to put this out there from my perspective.
Yeah.
I don't claim to be anything high and mighty, nothing like that. But
Yeah.
Regarding Christmas, I don't know how God feels about it, but like me personally, if it was up to me, I'd just commandeer the entire system like a pirate. We were born into it. We know its capability of function. It works, okay? Like the judicial system and stuff like that. If you had the right people in the churches preaching the right things instead of this propaganda, and you actually, brought them rather than a religion, okay, but a relationship with the Lord.
Right.
Keep politics out of a relationship and you don't have a religion,
Right.
and that's the simplicity of it.
Yeah.
They talk about depopulation and this, that, and the other. They got their Georgia Guidestones, but the greatest population control is the 10 Commandments. It's not that hard to marry one person, be happy with one person, and procreate with that one person. Whether you're trying for a boy or a girl, that kid still is a part of both of you and can, further your line into the future. So none of that. As far as Christmas goes, I would think that God reads people's hearts.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I don't like about the Bible, is how it tells. There's that one scripture, and I can't really quite place it, but it tells you that your heart lies to you. I've kind of spent my whole life protecting my heart so it wouldn't get stomped on by liars. Right. So it kind of contradicts my hands-on experience. Now, can I run that in a parable with the spiritual side of things? No, because they're not quite as above, so below. They should be, but that's a process of synchronicity, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Me personally, I like Christmas. I like looking at fall pine trees with lights on them and kids going nuts for presents underneath. I don't know about the mall Santa.
I just didn't want anybody. Well, like I said to Negative, I said, well, he was talking about, you were talking about, you said currency, and you're talking about electricity. He was talking about currency with money flowing away from you.
Yeah. Well, think about the same concept.
The banks are on the side.
Yeah. Think about the same concept. See, they want you slaving and beating your body up for a flow that has no value.
Right, exactly.
So all you're doing, so back to the whole Dracula concept that we talked about earlier from the Byzantine era of the church. It's all vampiric. It's all vampiric and sucking you and your kids and your husband and everybody dry completely, emotionally, with your physical wealth, everything. Yeah,
well, Negative was bringing that up about Christmas. See, that's kind of what I was kind of wondering too. He said they're making you spend your money on things, and because you don't have the time to give, So people buy presents
Yeah.
because they don't, I think it was kind of like this, that they're not present. You're not present in the life as much as you want to be,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever. And I said, I'm one of those people. I am, because I go crazy, like getting stuff, and I want to make everybody
That's-
happy. I want it to be perfect.
Yep.
You know,
I'll tell you what, Christmas started to suck for me the moment I
yeah.
became a
I can't
parent.
see you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Christmas started to suck for me the moment I became a parent. And I had my son when I was 18 years old. I was still in high school and stuff.
Yeah.
Had to drop out and had to learn the hard way with him, to bring in a check. And
Yeah, that is hard.
yeah, still never even went back for my GED or anything. So it's like
Don't
whatever.
bother.
Whatever.
Doesn't matter.
It really doesn't.
No.
It doesn't. Most of the people that come in and snake jobs from me because they had a degree, all they had was a degree from school, but the hands-on bleeding and sweating on
No
the
kidding.
job, it's so much better than the degree.
No
And here they
kidding.
come. Well, I'm your boss now. Well, show me how to run your line then. Well, I don't know how to run the line. That's what I'm talking about. And you want me to take a knee? Like, dude, no, sorry, it's not going to work out.
That's all changing though. You do know that, right?
Oh, I
It's
hope
all
so.
completely
I hope so.
changing to be what it should be. Hands-on,
I
learning
hope
from each other. It'll be great.
I mean, I hope it's going to change for the better. I'm pretty
Oh, yeah.
upset at, because I used to work at the Mack truck that Biden was at, when he visited Mack truck. I
Okay.
was so pissed off that they even allowed him that filming thing. And the best part about that visit, he didn't visit the plant while it was in operation. He visited the plant while it was shut down.
Oh,
Once a year, they shut down for recalibration. And that's when
Oh.
he weaseled in there so he could have a little private thing. I saw on Tucker how he's talking about, what would he say, double clutching quad boxes. And he's talking about how he used to drive a tractor trailer, man. I'm like, oh my God, me and my dad are cracking up.
that's funny.
Because Tucker was also talking about how Biden whipped corn pop sorry ass with a chain.
Right,
Did you see this news episode?
I saw it when it happened. Yeah.
I was laughing so hard. Now
Yeah.
this is also going to go
Corn
back
pop.
to
He's
the
a tough dude.
yeah. Oh yeah. But the whole corn pop thing goes all the way back to the alternating current, direct current gematria post.
Oh,
Because where my name is, it says Ryan Burrell is lucky Dagon number 9. Who's Dagon?
I don't remember.
He's a Mesopotamian fish god who's almost the same as
I know what you're, the
yeah,
picture, yes.
an ancient Mesopotamian, looks like a mermaid, okay, half fish, half man, with the high hat that they wear in the Vatican, okay.
I know now. I can picture it.
Yeah, somebody asked the Pope, they're like, well, who's the god of the Vatican? And he mentioned Oannes, Oannes. Okay. Now, when you look up the name Oannes on Wikipedia for fast reference, you don't really find a whole lot. When you look up Dagon, it says he's the father of Ishtar and he's the father of Utu. Now, the thing about Utu is Utu had kids, 2 kids, and both of their names meant truth and justice.
Oh.
What are we seeking in America right now?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And then
You know what I mean?
So
This goes back to my concept of what I was telling Jutsi. Satan calls God Satan. Okay. The greatest lie the devil ever told is telling people he never existed in the first place. So that way, from the shadows, the same way the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds and they operate, you're free to move. It's not like Hollywood when you claim status and then you got to have like 5 barricades of curtains to sit down, squat, and take a pee because someone's trying to get pictures of your genitals to post all over the internet so they get money with the paparazzi stuff. That's not living free. But living in the dark is freedom. You can do anything. No one knows who you are, but you're the most powerful man in the world.
Oh, I know. It's so, that's a good way of putting it.
So my concept is, that scared the crap out of me because when I do gematria, I never add to database, never. I did in the beginning because the first thing that popped in my mind when gematria was presented to me, when I started seeing things, I was like, oh my God, this is like the Lamb's Book of Life. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? This is what the one thing I said. I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna add my name to the book of life quick. I got on this spiritual thing, and that was the only thing I really added. I started adding my name and my family members and stuff to the name on a spiritual whim. Get your name in there. Get your name in there. And that was, and I was like, well, maybe I shouldn't be adding to the database. Maybe I'm actually going to piss something off.
Oh,
So
I don't think
I
so.
kept it all. I don't know how this stuff works. If it's not your house, knock. That's just how I am. So, I'm going through the database and stuff, and the ride that started surfacing is interesting. The fact that me and Jutsi were doing Mesopotamia and Sumerian
Yeah.
research, and then I see my name being called out in a data. I even asked her, and she's the only one who knows my birth name. Now everybody can post it. And you're allowed to. I don't care.
I didn't say.
By
I
all
don't even
means,
remember what you said. That's how fast my memory is going. Go ahead.
If you plan on posting this, you have every right to go for it.
Okay.
Feel free. Let's have some fun. But as soon as I saw my name there, I pulled it up. I said, well, this is Dagon. I mean, like,
Yeah.
what's that about?
Yeah.
And
Why?
she goes, I don't know. Do you think this has something to do with Atlantis? Him being a half fish. And I'm going, well, we went back and we studied these figureheads called the Apkallu. You might hear them talk about the High Council of 12.
Okay.
The Council of 12 goes back to Sumeria. Zachariah Stitchin and stuff had his own books.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And this is ancient Babylon. This is ancient Babylon. So it's an interesting position when you see your name being called out for something, and the name might be the legitimate owner of the Vatican.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
These are Phoenician people, like Baal worship. They passed, like Juan said, they passed their kids through the flame and stuff like that.
I know.
And stuff like that. Well, imagine the irony of the story. Okay. And Baal is also another name for Zeus.
It is? I thought Zeus was something completely separate.
No. There's Baal Zephon, there's Baal and everything else. And you have the Satanists working with the Arch of Baal, right?
I know about that.
Okay, when POTUS first took office,
yeah,
they were moving the Arch of Baal around, the Arch of Baal. You might hear the Arch of Baal and stuff like that. Think about a play on words. What is a keystone?
Oh, yeah.
Keystone is the headstone of an arch.
Right. Yeah.
6 stones on one side of the keystone, 6 stones on the other, 12 disciples and a head. Pennsylvania is the keystone state of the 13 colonial arch.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So you want to talk about Alpha and Omega when we talk about the Supreme Court as a captured operation. When you talk about the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, well, the beginning of this country was in the Keystone State.
Right.
And here's the funny part is they took the Supreme Court out of Pennsylvania and put it in their holy city of DC, their holy city. So what was the reasons that the Supreme Court needed to be uprooted from Pennsylvania and put into DC? Is it probably a capture operation all the way since back then, I'm assuming, in my uneducated sense, but it's like, I have questions about that.
I think you're right.
Yeah,
what's the point? I mean, there had to be a reason, but that must have been, assuming that's what it was.
And now we know that the Statue of Liberty was not given to us as a real good symbol of.
Oh yeah, what was it? Was it
go back and study in Rome a figure named Attis, Attis.
Oh, all right.
He wore the same crown. He was the original Colossus. Okay.
Oh, really?
When you go to it, she's the new Colossus. The original Colossus was a castrated man named Attis. Okay. Attis.
That's a not happy Colossus.
Yeah, you can kind of hear Isis in there, but all of that gets involved with Asherah and, the children of Ash you might hear of in some things. All of that is relevant. I was going over that. I mean, me and Jutsi went down so many rabbit holes. We may have caused perforations that created a giant crater. I mean, we have folded up quite a few different cultures and stuff. And, the same repeat cycle of empires being built and empires falling from within.
Yeah.
So some were torn down from outside interference, but a lot of them really it was internal logistics that just failed them.
Yeah.
Everything just like poisoned from the inside.
Yeah.
I even found some writings, regarding Osiris, that Osiris and Isis, because I heard -48 mention the Washington Monument is dedicated to Ra. He said he was like, oh, the big dildo monument, it's the dildo of Osiris dedicated to Ra.
I didn't know that.
I kind of, it might be dedicated to Ra, but is it in the right fashion? Like it's dedicated to us to be a big middle finger to America, like Juan said.
Yeah.
I think it might be the same thing to Ra, because there was scripture that kind of insinuated Isis was looking for a secret name of Ra because he had poison. He got poisoned by something, and she was a sorceress. So I'm assuming he got poisoned by her, and her husband Osiris wanted to take position. So it was more of a betrayal from my understanding of things. So if they dedicated that to Ra, believe me, it's a big middle finger.
Yeah.
And you just heard to close up some, or have people look into this as well, you overheard -48 say how Trump fired Osiris. Osiris,
You're
you're
fired.
fired.
Mhm.
Give me 1 second.
Mhm.
We got this book. I don't know if you can read it.
I don't know how to say it, but
Don't worry about saying it. Just focus on the letters.
yeah. Okay.
This book is interesting because it has a book in it called the Book of Jehovah.
Uh-huh.
And it depicts, where is he? Osiris as one of the sons of Jehovah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is written like Old Testament, the whole poetic thee, thou,
Right.
thou art, and stuff like that.
Right.
But it's depicting his name as Osire instead of Cyrus, Osire. So the Osiris name is probably a combination of Osire and his wife Osiris.
Yeah. Huh.
But yeah, I saw that there's so many different books out there, and this has really old, where is it? There's so many books. It's like a 900-page book. When I ordered this, I was like, let's see what that's about. And I ordered it, showed up in the mail. I'm like, oh my God, why is this thing so big? It has the Book of Bien, the Book of Key, which Key is interesting because that's on page 535.
Wow. There you go.
Right, and it's spelled Kii. Well, ki in Japan, if you study, Aikido, it's energy, and some countries also spell it Qi.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
You heard, ka, like in Egypt they call it ka. They might call it ki over in Japan, and maybe another country uses the Q instead.
Huh.
Things I'm looking at, like people, they throw kek. They like to throw kek around, Kek.
Is
Well,
that 27? I can't remember.
No,
My memory is so bad.
11, 5, 11.
Oh, right. No.
Yep. So if you're talking about the 11, 11 and a 5,
Yeah.
isn't 11 like end of war and peacetime?
Yeah. 11, 11.
Okay, so end of war, grace, peacetime.
Oh, okay. It has something to do with JFK.
Fingers
I can't remember
crossed.
what it is. I don't know.
Oh, well, regarding JFK?
Yeah, there's something tied
Was
to
that
JFK.
is that the 135?
No, Keck, the word Keck. But I can't
Yeah,
remember.
I don't really totally grasp the concept of it, except the symbol of it. It's a star.
Right.
It's 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it's an 8-pointed, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's an 8-pointed star, and no matter where you look, you have your center line, and both sides you have a K. You have a K facing the other side, and then the line through the middle is your E. So it's
yeah.
K and then an E in the middle. And no matter which way you turn, it'll always say Keck in 4 directions.
That's cool. I like it.
But that kind of stuff is a lot of the stuff, I've been studying,
Yeah.
and it's really interesting. Even when I anagram my own name, like if I did a 4x4 square and use the exact sizing of it for letters, it starts to make the Masonic symbol, the down arrow, the up arrow, and the 6-figured star.
Oh my.
It starts to make that. I
Yeah.
started looking into that because Juan talks about cubes, all the cubes on his book and
Right.
Melania's dress. So I start looking at cubes and I noticed the shape of his cube was a hexagram. When you
Okay.
look at the cube, it's actually a hexagram.
Yeah.
If you turn it the other way, it's a rhombus. And if you look at it this way, it's a square or a diamond, depending on what your point of view.
Right.
Right.
Huh.
So that's how we need to also come together in this group.
Great.
Lots of point of views, one big picture. So,
Okay.
I saw, when people were talking to Janine and she was using, the tarot cards and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Listen, you're just trying to relay information and look for similarities. There's
Yeah.
so much vibration going on out there. You got to look for the sequencing to know if you're on some sort of trail or if you're being led off in the wild blue yonder. And that's
Right.
what I've taken notice to. Because there's some people with some wild questions for negative 48 on his chat. They come out of the woodwork. I'm going, oh boy. Let's see what he says to this. And it's like, it's hit or miss.
That's so funny.
It's hit or miss. And there, you
It
can
sounds
tell.
more wild than when I got to talk to him on that chat about my
I
favorite.
listen in. I would love to have a conversation with him, but it's
Yeah.
His understanding of numbers opposed to my multi-layer
Yeah.
trials and tribulations with the numbers. I do see the same story he's talking about. My stance on JFK, and come on in.
Yeah.
Come on, I'm excited. I'm very excited to see him. Very, very
I
excited.
think it's good. Did you know about the history tour?
I heard something about it.
Okay. I've got a feeling we're going to see him at the end of the history tour because the last stop is in Dallas.
Trump is hitting 2020, 2021. And anybody who's like, oh, well, Joe, you're going to vote for Trump 2024. I'm not voting ever again until 2020 is fixed.
The video you sent me, what was it called? It was something, well, it was about Mel Gibson.
Yeah, he's discussing Vigamo.
Archbishop Vigano.
Yeah.
Is that how you say his name?
I think so.
Okay. Well, not the very first thing he said, but close. I think he just said hello. I don't know. He said, the voice crying out from the wilderness of Malibu. So, Bible phrase, but then of Malibu, right? I mean, I could have divided it up and all that, but I was kind of in a hurry, so I decided I'd just do the whole thing.
Right.
It's 511, so there's 11 there, but listen to this about the voice. This is what's going to change everything, and that's why I think we're going to see him maybe in Dallas, maybe at a rally. There's so many reasons I think that. I mean, the coding is unbelievable for this.
Oh, I know.
To have that happen before Christmas is like big.
I know.
Encoding. Anyway, so what Mel said, gosh, my voice is all gravelly, sorry. I got all tingly, The people will hear his voice and return to source. They're going to hear him. And that's when, are you ready? That's when the whole world will light up. And all of a sudden, it's going to be on every phone. It's going to be everywhere. And every eye will see him. That's what's happening. I really think that's what's happening.
You know what that means. That broadcast is going to be
worldwide. Oh, worldwide. It's going to be everywhere.
And that right there would mark, all right, right now, I view our country as the woman in birth crying out in pain.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And the prayers. Yeah.
And the thing is about the crying out to pain, I said this to Jutsi not too long ago. I said, what's the big problem with our infrastructure and, our energy is that we import our oil, you know. And I threw this pastor. I said, the whole let's dive down the yellow, let's go skip down the red brick road, actually, because that was the busted up road, and pull up Yellowstone.
Right.
And let's talk about Yellowstone a minute. And I pulled up the earthquake chart.
Oh, I've been big into Yellowstone stuff.
There
my
is
gosh, I'm so
over
glad you brought that up.
50,000 earthquakes per year just around that caldera. And the best part is, I don't know if you remember my my picture diagram, how I pulled up a satellite image of the United States, and the entire left half of that pipeline that goes straight up the center of our United States, the entire left half is dry as a bone. Dry as a bone. Why would that be? Take a look at the size of that caldera. It takes up the entire left half of the United States.
I didn't know it was that big.
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. I mean, the span of the heat alone reaches out almost the entire left half.
The fish have been dying, you know that, right?
What's that?
The fish in the Yellowstone Lake have been dying.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the acidity's through the roof. It's through the roof. And, scientists have been talking about how to, if that goes off, it's going to trigger the Canary Islands. You're going to have a chain reaction. It's world, dominating. So just out of shits and giggles, I sit there and, I have that set off. I pull the tab up, sit there and type it in. And lo and behold, you can take magma and process it with water and literally create petroleum. You can create gold by rapid cooling. You can produce all of these things.
And you can get a rhodolite is in magma that goes up and down, like Yellowstone. There's not many places that do that keep continually doing that. And that rhodolite is where you get rhodium, and that's the most expensive metal in the planet.
Yeah, the manufacturing and the things that we can do. Yeah. So then I drew up this crazy idea, this plan out of nowhere, and I said to Jutsi, I said, holy shit. I said, when they were having Standing Rock, they did not want the oil coming through their water supplies up there. Trump came in and devised the Keystone XL pipeline, and it goes up into like a small little section, what looks like the caldera. And I'm like, well, why the hell would you run a crude pipeline into a volatile thing like the caldera?
Right.
Like, why would you want that anywhere near the magma?
Right.
Drain the swamp.
Really?
If we start pumping our own, let's say I'm right on this. Yeah. And let's say the magma can be processed, and we have the, you see people with their furnaces and stuff like that. They make their own ingots and their bars of gold and brass. They have their own little kiln. All right. And they have their crucibles, and those things get real hot. You telling me we don't have pipes that can literally make magma flow? Yeah, we do. Yeah, we absolutely do. We have the material that can contain that stuff. So if you were to process it, now you're talking about a petro/gold standard being cooked up and minted right here in America.
Wow.
And then things got dark. Things got dark from there, because now I started thinking about executions and Gitmo.
Oh, I know.
So I'm like, well, if it's a blood feud, and they love money so much, and you can make gold out of this, throw them in the volcano, mint them into the money they want to be so much. You know what I mean? Be done with it. Don't even let the blood hit the ground.
Don't let them be Gitmo garden fertilizer, as Negative says.
No, Gitmo into a great hospital for the Cubans. Give them something they need.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be nice?
It would be.
Gosh.
It would be.
Oh.
Yeah, but it's a concept I have. But the shortly after, Trump had mentioned at one of the rallies, he'd mentioned the word smelt, SMELT.
Okay.
And that was shortly after me and Jutsi were talking about them shaking up the ground to create smelt factor for the caldera to expand. I really wonder if this is like a big, an evil alchemist attempt at turning a country into gold. Like, you turn the whole country into gold and kill everybody in the process, but now you're filthy rich. It's like soul money. You know what I mean? It's
unbelievable.
I wouldn't put it past them. I mean, the stuff they're doing now with the whole 9-month abortion laws and stuff they were going for, like, the desperation's evil, man. It really is. It's unbelievable.
Sometimes I think that the all those laws being pushed are like, I really do think, I mean, so many of those guys have been replaced,
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
because
let's
like
put it this way.
when you look at their faces and their ears, they're not right.
Biden's creepy smile and those dark, depressed eyes.
You know what? Did you?
Such a
Okay,
creep.
back to the Biden thing. I keep switching, but anyway, I'm sorry. Sometimes he has dark brown eyes like that. Sometimes he has blue eyes.
Yeah.
So there you go. And my friend told me she saw that too. She said that, and she said, "Well, that's just because he's evil." And she's so sure it's the end of the world that, and what we're doing is we're going into what we had was the bad, and we're going into the 1,000 years, you know. And
yeah, I wouldn't
you
say
can't
it's
tell
the
her
end of
that.
it is the end of the world. I mean, let's
Well, it's never going to be the same.
let's realistically, you know, preach some doom here for a minute, because everyone's trying to keep everything fluffy and happy. Let's
Okay, lay it on me.
all right, let's preach some doom. This entire system that we're enslaved in is their entire world. It's
I know, the money system
they built.
especially.
We're gonna kill their world. We're gonna kill it. I would personally, like any good pirate, I'd probably commandeer the ship, kick the whole crew off, and put my own crew in charge. And that would correlate with replacing the old guard, as Q put it. You know, we know the system inside out. We live under the system. You put the right people in power, and somebody that's not, you know, gonna turn around and screw you. Like, we elect these people in to be our voice, and we end up fighting with our own voice. Okay. Now, I don't mean to be crude or anything, but you know how some guys talk about their hand after they get out of a relationship with a woman. I'd rather be with my hand. Some of them talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's use that concept here for a minute. Your hand doesn't talk back. It doesn't spend extra money. You tell it not to, and it's not going to betray you. Imagine if it did. That's our politicians.
You cut the
It's like
hand
arguing
off.
with your own
It did.
hand as a single man. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't work out. So it's like we put these people in, and the second they get the badge tacked on, it's like, I don't know, like they were bullied in school or something. Now they got to bully the whole nation, or as much as they can. But then, you know, there's people behind the scenes. You know, we saw with Mitch McConnell, the guy flashing his fingers behind Mitch when he turned around in the chamber.
Oh, I missed that.
He threw the little, you know, hand sign behind Mitch.
Yeah.
I don't know. And that was when Mitch had a nice big black and blue, like they beat his hands with a hammer or something.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of different things. The Queen had a bruised hand. Mitch McConnell had a bruised one. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
A lot of different photos going around. I take everything with a grain of salt. Now, are they pounding on him? I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it, because that's a message to the inner circle. Hey, he or she got their ass kicked. You better fall in line.
Yeah.
You know, don't do what they. Come on.
Oh, I was going to tell you, I got for last year. I didn't get it this year, but from the Republican. I don't think they normally do this. You know, I think it was just for that 1 year. The Republican National Committee sent me a calendar. Okay. And I was like thinking, oh, well, I don't belong to that. I've never belonged to that. Why did I get a calendar? Like, I never donate ever. But it was, I think I'm on the good little girl list from the good guys.
Hey, I got certificates. I have an entire printout with Marine One, like a sketch landing at the White House. All these certificates I have I got to get frames. I mean, all this stuff started coming in the mail. I'm going, wow, I got Republican life.
Oh, I only got a calendar.
Oh, I got lapels. I got all kinds of stuff coming in the mail. I'm like, wow, what the hell's happening here?
Well, it was
I got these nice little professional, like presidential advisor mail stickers for my envelope. I'm like, all right.
There you go. I like it. I like it. Well, so anyway, the calendar had comms in it. The whole calendar was comms. Really? It was. You could decode the calendar. It was awesome. And on November, because I kept waiting for the global currency reset, right? And everybody's waiting for that. Well, I thought I had figured it out, like for my calendar, but it wasn't. It was turns out what you see my watch, it looked like this. And you saw Melania was standing up at the front, and she had on a beautiful yellow dress at a rally, and she was at the podium.
Is that the one with the long
yeah
sleeves? Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, and I don't even remember what yellow is. I should know, but I don't remember. Anyway, so she's standing there and she's smiling, and then all the arms that were holding up with their camera phones it wasn't a watch, it was silver bands around one wrist. And I thought, oh, that's the reset. It must be in November. I'm decoding it all in that January, trying to look ahead.
Yeah.
And other stuff. And well, I was wrong, I'm always wrong. But you know what it is? That's when like negative, and I think maybe Juan said it, that like Pence was gone in November. Wasn't it November? I think.
I think right after he did not initiate them to do a forensic audit, and he just went along with the fraudulent election.
Okay.
I think I heard that's when they nixed him.
Well, you know what I mean, some of the pictures I did see, I didn't see some of the ones you mentioned with the bruise and stuff, but I saw certain ones where they had the silver bracelet, being led around inside the.
Yeah, I know exactly which one you're talking about.
Yeah, so that's what that was. That was the silver bracelets, was November. So yeah, and then they, gosh, what was it? Oh, I can't remember, but it was so cool. I love that stupid calendar. I'm going to always keep it.
I just happened to turn around just now and I saw something very interesting. You want to see it? It's JFK related.
Yeah, what is it?
I'm still like a little kid.
Oh, me too.
I love some of the artistic stuff. So I went out and I bought my own personal JFK.
I love it.
Here's the best part though.
So fun.
We're talking about JFK returning during which presidency?
Well,
what are the chances of that?
Yeah.
Like
46.
JFK on Biden's presidential number. Who's doing this?
Oh, I know.
And it's like he's gonna come back at President 46.
I know.
It's like, oh, I'll take it. I mean, I'm all down. I mean, I got Jackie and Reagan.
Yeah.
They're all in perfect condition, right? And then I ordered Trump's 2016. Right. And it shows up all crunched. Someone had TDS and they had to bang the box up. I'm like, come on. But
yeah.
I got little JFK and Trump with me and stuff.
Yeah, I got my, well, you probably can't see it, but my Kid by the Side of the Road, the magazine. And I was one of the ones that it took forever to get the magazine to.
Yeah, no,
same about it.
For the second edition, it took a while to get mine too.
Yeah, did yours have a clear package on it? Clear?
Yeah, they actually.
And he said that it was because it had Trump on the back, and everybody was stopping it.
He must have been trying to rush things out to people that were waiting. I got one book instead of the 2 packets like it was supposed to be. I don't even care. I don't care. I got it. Yeah. That's all that matters.
Oh, I actually gave one to my sister-in-law because she's the most open-minded one in the family. Because I ended up getting 2 one time and bought 2 more because I wanted one for each kid whenever they pay attention, whenever that is. And so I gave it to my sister-in-law. She came down and I said, I didn't want to get into it at that moment, but she's open-minded, and I was like, here, just take a look at it. I didn't want to say anything about it. I just wanted to see what she thought,
Yeah.
Well, she ended up giving it to, not giving it, but showing my mother-in-law, who is not the person to show it to. She's
too in it. She's too in it to be changed, right?
Oh, she's like 84 and she's just like, so she's been she'll work at the voting, the polling station, and everybody's a Republican is an idiot and all that stuff.
Yeah, she's the one you got to put off to the side and just
put her on a shelf.
Back from a distance.
Yeah.
Have her back from a distance and Lord, when you get the time, can you teach her what's right and wrong? Yeah,
exactly.
No. God bless the older generations, the baby boomers and beyond. I mean,
yeah.
God bless them, but you aren't going to change their views on anything. That's like going to one of our founding fathers and looking at them from 2021 and going, you guys are wrong. What do you mean? No, they were on point for the most part all the way through.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Mhm.
Well, maybe we should wrap it up. You're probably tired, aren't you? I'll keep talking
I
if
got
you
a few
want to.
things to do today. It's up to you.
Yeah,
However you
yeah.
want to go. It's up to you.
Well, yeah, we probably should go. It's a good break. And I'm losing my voice, so. But it's so much fun to talk. I
It
really,
is.
really enjoyed it, and you taught me so much.
There's so many different angles to this, and it's like I kind it's my own thing. I get a little upset when everybody kind of bottlenecks into a linear thing when there's a lot more going on. So
Right.
it's like maybe if I'm reading this right, that Dagon concept is not a particularly good concept as far as where it's sided with the Lord. So imagine if I am that figurehead in this whole story, right?
I don't know.
No,
Yeah.
just imagine this for a
Okay,
minute.
okay.
And everyone's doing this terrible shit to kids, and their God is actually on the side of Christ.
Yeah, like,
I mean, imagine the irony in that. You know what I mean?
right, right.
That's the first thing I thought of, like, oh,
Huh,
is that what this might be, Lord? Are you telling me like
huh.
maybe where I'm coming from and how this story is going to play out as a big middle finger to them ultimately in the end?
It could be. I mean,
You
everything's
know, like, because
backwards.
as
Everything.
soon as I looked at that Dagon's name standing, I just I got a little sink in my heart, like, and then
Yeah.
that whole phrase, like, know yourself,
Mm,
came in. It doesn't matter what it's telling you, you know who you are, you know what you stand for. But then I'm sitting there getting a little sadistic going, well, if the deep state's waiting for their king to step forward, what kind of chess game do they have if their king already took a knee to the Lord Jesus Christ? Well, that wouldn't really work out in the deep state's favor, I would think. I think they're backs against the wall and they're just chomping, trying to survive before they get swallowed whole.
yeah.
And that's
I
that's
didn't
kind
think
of
they still had control of the weather. I'm confused about that. What do you, Negative said that, I think it was Negative, said that it was, or it could have been Janine. I don't remember who. Somebody said that about Ida, the hurricane.
well. I notice everything comes from South America.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff come from South America, and that's an interesting thing too, because when you go back to Hopi prophecy, they were led here by their white brother. Okay, so if he's a white brother, it means he had indigenous characteristics about him, but lighter complexion, and that would fall in with my understanding of Ube from the Vikings coming over here before Christopher Columbus. And I'll send you history's Viking clip when he first met the Native Americans, and
Okay.
there was no war. They actually had very good interaction. That's why I think when Christopher Columbus and them came here, they were expecting the same thing from Columbus's ships, and instead they were met with genocide and stuff, all behind the same cross symbol.
Right.
They
Symbolism. Yeah.
right, going back to talking about doing things in the name of scapegoating the Lord Jesus's name to
Right.
do nefarious things. And that's what we come to find out. A lot of people talk about how they know Jesus and worship Jesus. What's going on when the Iron Curtain's closed?
Yeah.
We're starting to find out. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
I know. Well,
if
things are
that's
going
my
to get
position,
better.
if
Yeah.
that is my position, what Gematria told me, I'm just gonna line up with the
Yeah.
rest of everybody and kick their ass. I'm not siding.
There you go.
you know.
There you go. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
Gematria is a crazy ride. It's a wild ride. It really
Oh, I
is.
know. Oh, and before we go, the Mel Gibson thing that I told you about with
Yeah.
the people who hear his voice. Well, another match to what Mel said is, remember I told you how Sean Connery's one of the Bidens?
Yeah.
And Negative confirmed it. So I was like, I was right about something, I was like,
So Negative did confirm the fact that Connery is.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Welcome to the
I'm
law.
like, score.
I heard. I did hear somebody throw the name James Woods as one of the operators.
He said that that's another one. He did say that.
James Woods, he was a trip on Twitter. He's no
he
holds
was
barred.
a fun one.
He's no holds barred. He gets vulgar. I love it.
I know. I love him.
I love it. That's the reason I voted for Trump the second he dropped the F-bomb. when he was running for the president, he was talking about, well, I just bomb him and take the effing oil. I was like, oh, he's speaking American. He got my vote. Okay, you got my attention.
That's your love language, right? Remember
It
those
is.
books?
It's just that American street language. No, we're not pulling punches.
Oh, well, anyway, so a match to Mel's phrase, they call him the James Bond of the sky in Catch Me If You Can. So it had James Bond in there. I mean, I know it just doesn't even make sense, but it has James Bond. That's the point,
That kind of immediately makes my mind think 007 Skyfall.
Right.
Hmm.
So I don't know.
Didn't you say there was going to be a Sky is Falling event?
Yeah, there's, as far as I can get, and it's been for quite a while now.
Skyfall,
There'll
007, 107, one of seven, one,
Right.
I don't know.
I think he is one of seven, possibly.
Well, who's the other six, huh? Are we talking about the seven lampstands?
Jim Caviezel. I can't say his name right. Caviezel? Yeah.
It's one of the first things I thought of when I heard 107. I was like, 107, one of seven golden lampstands. That's seven angels, one in charge of each church. And that would be the restoration of Christ's original church, which goes back to that picture I sent you on Telegram. They look like the lotus bud.
Yep.
And I said, it looks like garlic, it's the first thing I thought of. And I was like, garlic, bloodlines. And that's where it's kind of threw me into the Byzantine Draculesti research. And,
oh my goodness gracious. You were so smart. Oh my gosh. I can't
it's funny because
things in my head.
Because all of those things regarding Draculesti and Basarab, you come to find out that it's today's modern Windsors.
Yeah.
So, they've captured the church concept for quite some time. So
yeah, what's his name? The man who would have been king, but won't be. What's his name? You know who I mean.
Is that Gregory Hallett?
Prince, no, yeah, I talk about him a lot too, but the supposedly the queen's son. Who knows, but Prince whatever. It's almost like I've blotted them from my mind already.
You have to.
But he said he was related to Vlad the Impaler.
Oh, that's great.
Isn't that figure?
Yeah, that's
yeah.
Nice, you should look up the correlation. You should look up the correlation of Vlad the Impaler and Michael the Brave. You'll see an overthrow happen in their church. So it's like, going back to role play. I mean, when we were talking about Biden, if you think about the play on words, in Sumerian, they have the king's tablets, and their first king on the tablet was Adama, Adam.
Oh.
Okay, so they
Adam means blood. I know that.
Yeah, they have their own, lineage from God, from Adam all the way through as well with their kings. They didn't list their queens, but they listed all the men. And Adam's name was Adama or Adapa. They had two variations. I'm sitting there thinking about it, and you have the founding of the house of Joseph was Deborah, okay, and Barak. And that's in the Bible, the founding of the house of Joseph. Mm-hmm. And Deborah was, she was a judge of sorts in the book of Judges when you read about Deborah. Okay. Well, who is a current judge-like figure for Obama? Barack. Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
Oh, Debbie. Oh, yeah.
Remember how she was hassling? Yeah. Remember how she was hassling the New York cops about get that laptop back or there's consequences?
Yeah, that big guy.
Yeah.
I remember
now I just recently saw her when that Surfside building went down in Miami standing next to DeSantis. I would have told her to kick rocks and get out of my district. Like anybody who harasses a cop, like, give that back.
Yeah.
No. Like, what laptop? Whose laptop? Is it Biden's laptop? Does New York have Biden's, or was she after Wiener's laptop?
Right.
Whose laptop? Because she was pretty close with Clinton too. I think they were all buddy, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, I think they all go to little ceremonies, same little ceremonies, and that they all stand 6 feet apart. You know that, right?
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Oh, wait till people find out that's one of the reasons it's 6 feet apart. Like,
but it's like you hear these names, and if you really pay attention, I'm sure I'm not the only one that's going to call this, but their names are representative of the roles they intend to play. So
Okay.
if Adama was the name of Adam, and this place was promised to the seed of Adam, Obama's name is Barack Obama. Okay, but it's Barry Soetoro, we know that. But Barack Obama is the exact name Jesus said for the lightning that fell from heaven, which is Lucifer.
Huh.
In Hebrew, Barack Obama is that exact.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's
Huh.
the exact to what Jesus said as he watched lightning fall from heaven.
Really?
Now, Barak is the name of a man with the judge Deborah who founded the house of Joseph, which Joseph fathered Jesus when Mary gave birth.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so that house of Joseph, the founding of that house was with a man named Barak and a judge named Deborah. Now we got Debbie Wasserman Schultz in a
Wow.
judge style position, and Barack Obama, Alpha Omega AO.
Yeah.
So Obama, by his very name, is telling you he's the usurper of Adam's throne.
Wow.
And Joe Biden, well, what's the angel of the pit? Abaddon Biden.
Yeah.
And you have Odin, Project Odin.
Yeah.
Well, Odin would be one mind. Biden is Biden. Instead of Odin, it's Biden. So he got two minds. That's why he's always rubbing at his eye and stuff. He is not, most definitely not in control. No way, shape.
No, I think we are, but
oh, well, we are. Here's the best part about it, that from what I've seen, especially after the little graffiti that the white hats like to do on the Ever Given ship with a certain phallus symbol.
Yeah.
I was cracking up laughing when I found out about it. Is Biden's not in control, but we got some jokesters behind the wheel making Biden look like a real idiot. I wish they could do more, because vanity is a big thing with the left. They try to look very proper and uphold that politically correct. If the white hats could find some way for more flatulence on live TV, that'd be fantastic. We need reputations ruined, and we need more laughter in America. So, if you're listening, you can make people fart on live TV, please.
Oh yeah.
More Eric Swalwell. Yeah, more Eric Swalwell, please. When he,
I know.
The Hodgett twins had a field day with him when he.
I know.
Oh my God.
I know, and so did Cat Turd.
Oh yeah.
Cat Turd. We have Cat Turd's book. I think Cat Turd's a white hat thing. I really do. I know. He's just a guy. He or she has
hell of an opinion, man.
I think got a hell of an opinion. That place to do it.
Yeah.
Write the book and everything.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, anyway, on the note of Cat Turd, I guess I'll go. Say goodbye.
I know. Start talking about litter boxes
and food
and stuff.
Isn't it nice? Farts and cat turds. Now I got to go clean the litter box for my poor little cat. No.
Nice.
Well, it was nice talking to you. Now let's see if I know how to turn this off.
Yeah, I'm hoping I brought up some research and stuff for people that might be looking.
Oh, I think so. Oh my gosh.
There's so much. Once Jutsi comes on, I mean, and she.
Oh, it'll be awesome.
Oh,
I can't wait for you guys.
She's a blessing. You have no idea. She's amazing.
I didn't even know she was a she.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah, she's over in the Netherlands and stuff, and she like when me and her work together, like she puts my mind on overdrive. Like
that's cool.
Like I throw something, she's thinking about something in the parallel. And she puts it out there from a perspective I don't understand. I don't really mess with occult stuff, and neither does she, but she has an understanding of it. So it's like when she presents it, it's like, oh wow, look at that and this. It's I feel like a little kid with a science partner who really works. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool.
And it's nice because we can still have fun, even though it's very serious. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wonder if we're gonna get degrees or maybe some special job or something. Maybe they're looking for the smart.
You probably will.
Placed in position. Hey,
you and Jutsi will.
I'll take it. If I have something for purpose, you know what I mean. That's.
Oh, you know what Negative said? This is cool. Did you hear this? That how President Trump said he was going to have a memorial garden for people who passed on. I think it's for people who really didn't pass on. I can't tell you, but I'd have to tell you off screen because I'm not supposed to talk about it.
ghost heroes.
They're here. They're here. And I think that's what it's going to be. And I saw one, you probably, if you saw the interview that I was on with Negative, did you see the whole thing? Because at the end, I wasn't sure if I was supposed to talk about it, because I was going to talk about it, but I wasn't really sure. I was kind of like, in the back of my head, I was like, you know, I've talked about other people I know are here, but this just seems like too much.
I heard what was her name on Negative 8's channel? I think it might have been Shelly, or it might have been Hammer Girl, actually.
Yeah.
And she was stopping somebody from coming forth with one of the decodes because it would have hindered the Bloodline of Christ, you know, series that Negative 48's working on.
Okay.
So they asked people to stop that. That is one of the hardest things for me, is my excitement with the things I bring up being stopped by somebody because they want to own their story. And I'm like, this is such bullshit. You know what I mean? But you have to understand, everybody's in this. Everybody's excited.
It's a big
for the
unit.
revelations.
Yeah, we're all together.
It really is. And at first I was approaching things very immature in my head. Like, well, I want to talk about it. Yeah, it's exciting. I'm sorry. It's exciting. And it's, you know, I'm trying to gear down. I post a lot of heavy metal music and stuff, and a lot of the people probably relay bad messages from it. And really what I'm doing is I'm trying to throw things in their face. They've been talking about it.
Yeah.
It's happening. They've been doing this, you know, and it's, well, why you got to post that kind of music? Well, it's just energy. So first off, calm down about that, because now we're going to have energy wars, racial wars, political wars. I mean, let's keep the segregation up, I guess, you know.
I know.
But everyone's nitpicking, like Juan said about Moses, you know. They're a contentious pain in the ass people, but you got to love them. Aren't we all? Aren't we all?
I am. I know I am. My poor husband's like a saint. My husband's a saint. You do know that, right?
This way, I'm just going to put this out there for whoever's listening, whoever's helping this guy here.
Yeah.
You know, outside of myself, I'm not easy to work with. So bless you and your patience.
Yeah.
I know a lot of the stuff is outside of myself. So whoever's working with me spiritually, you have more patience than me. I know. I'm stubborn. I'm very hard to work with.
Oh, what I didn't finish telling you about the memorial garden that he wants to do. He also said that, I didn't know this part. Negative said that he's doing this. He is going to do it. It's like a definite thing. He's going to have, I don't know what it's called, but it's like a, not a memorial, because it's, you're here, but some kind of monument. Maybe it's a monument, the way to put it. And it's going to have the Anons' names on it. The Anons. Yeah.
I wonder if that has anything to do with the SMS texts I get from the 88022 about the donor wall and things like that.
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe who has contributed a lot of time into this over the years.
Maybe, yeah. I think it's
how many of us truly can say we're asking Lady Liberty, what can we do for you?
Right.
Instead of, you know, how can you comfort us? I mean, we've seen what happens, and how we view toilet paper in a time of need. We'll beat each other's ass for a roll of toilet paper.
Oh, I know. Oh, that's ridiculous. Did you know that Johnny Carson started that years ago? Did you know that?
No.
So Johnny Carson's alive. Did you know that?
What?
Yes.
Really?
I've seen him.
Listen, that just confirms med beds. I want a med bed.
Yeah. I mean, too. I want one in the house.
Yep. Tempur-Pedic. I want the whole nine. I want it decked out. When I sleep, I wake up and I'm 18 again.
Wouldn't it be cool if because I know Johnny's here and Ed McMahon is here. I know that. Wouldn't it be cool if say it's at the history tour or at a rally or whatever? Because I got a decode from his from something I just worked on with JFK, and it said that he was going to be on a pedestal, on a not a pedestal, on a stage. You know what I mean? Like I one of my decodes said that.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. And so I was like, oh my gosh, he's really going to be at the history tour, or he's really going to be at a, well, he has been, I've seen him there. But I mean, to come out, you know, to be seen, that's the message I was getting. But wouldn't it be cool if Johnny Carson and Ed McMahon, they were like introducing all these people and they got their show back, and that's how you start seeing all these people that fake their deaths, or beyond that they didn't die, period.
Stepped out of the system, went into the dark so they could contribute to tearing it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So wouldn't that be fun?
That would be like, that's one thing Q asked, is what makes a good movie,
Yeah.
a little stick in the spokes of a turning wheel, throw you over the handlebars. That's always exciting. All right. That's always
for a minute.
An exciting time, and a good and a very good ending,
Yeah. Oh, I hope I'm right. I
know.
I mean, if I thought of that, and Johnny Carson's alive and you've helped him, I mean, you don't let that kind of talent go to waste. No. You just don't.
I told everyone around me, if I find out that I'm crazy, the next job I go into, I'm making no friends. I'm going to be hanging my head, just making a paycheck, going, son of a bitch. There's too many confirms.
No. Look at the Clouseau channel. I'm always talking about that. Clouseau with one S. Like Inspector Clouseau, but leave out an S.
Leave out an S.
Because Inspector Clouseau is 2. So it doesn't have 2 S's. It's just one. And you'll see one. I mean, I was at one of these rallies that became an a Clouseau video. I was at the rally when I saw this person that I want to talk about that I'm not going to talk about. I saw him behind President Trump. Yeah. And I saw, I saw ones I can talk about. What's his name? That was Igor on Young Frankenstein. What's his name? Marty Feldman. Marty Feldman was there.
Yes.
And he was, it was great. I mean, there's so many people. There wasn't as many big famous people there, because I think it's because there was this one that was a big, as Garfield would say. Do you remember Garfield, the cartoon?
Oh, yeah. I remember
that was a big fat hairy deal. That's what I was going to say about this person is like a big fat hairy deal. That's what Garfield would say. So anyway, but there's a video, there's 11 videos. You can see Jackie. You can see people at different ages. Yeah. Honestly, it's amazing. And there's one, and it looks like the banner of the Tonight Show, so you'll know the right one to see Johnny.
Yeah.
And he's not young in this one. He looks like he's quite old, but I know that when we see him again, he's going to be young. I really, really think that. I think when we see Junior again, he'll be young, at least at some point. Maybe not the very first time we see him, but we're going to see him young, and it's going to blow people out of the water. Really.
I saw a picture, back, maybe 2 years ago. It was Trump. He was off Marine One. Marine One was in the back distance and everything. Uh-huh. It's not the one where people thought they saw JFK sitting in the chopper. This one, he's in the distance. He's walking across the lawn with some guy in a suit and brown hair. He had like short hair and his beard shaved, and it looked like the guy was, had his hand on Trump's shoulder and he's laughing. I was looking at that picture in my kitchen, like, dude, if I shaved my beard off, that would look just like me. What if it's like a future timeline of us coming?
I don't know.
I was like,
you have eyes that are like kind of like JFK.
My eye sets off like the way his does on the one eye.
Yeah, like, I think your eyes are similar. But you know why? Because we're all related. Think about that. Did you remember what on Tom's channel? It was the beginning of July. You can still find it on it's Psych Club, PSYCH. Mm-hmm. Well, so Juan was on there, and he dropped some stuff that I don't think many people caught, but boy, I caught it.
Is that the one where it was just Tom, Michael, and Mika, I think?
No, Michael wasn't around yet.
Oh, he was? Okay.
No, and it might have been the first week in July. And let's see. Okay, Bryce was there. I think it might have just been Bryce and Tom with Juan. And it was a big deal because he'd only been on there like, this might have been the second time. So everybody's all excited and everything. And Juan comes on and he's laughing, and he says, his boots are showing. And he says, I just want you to know that these are not the same boots I usually wear. These are new boots because my old boots, one boot had to go in to be repaired, right? That was so much calms. I mean, and guess what his new boots were made out of? Snake skin, okay? He bruised his heel, okay, because he crushed Satan's head, and then he was wearing snake skin boots. I was like, this is it. This is it. I was like, this is so what happened. It is. It's what happened. He
Not only that,
he
but
literally did it. I know
he
did.
He also had
Literally.
to get those repaired because those boots were made for walking.
Those boots are made for walking. You're so weird.
Think about Jennifer Mack's video.
Yeah, right.
Walking boots.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. This is
hitting
so
the
much
bricks.
fun.
Yeah, hitting the bricks.
Isn't it fun?
It is.
I love all the double talk and.
Imagine if teachers were this clever with our kids, we'd have geniuses.
Oh yeah. They should be geniuses.
Yeah, we wouldn't have meteorologists telling us there's a 85% chance of precipitation and then sunny all day. You're like,
I gotta tell you something.
You're like, what do you get paid for?
Guess what? My son's a meteorologist.
Is he? No. Well, see, that's my luck. I start talking trash.
He's not on TV. He's not on TV, so he's not like that.
Not yet. Okay, I can get away with it.
You know what he does? It's awful. It's awful. I mean, for what's going on right now, he's become way more liberal. It's awful.
Really?
He used to be conservative, and he got in this. He got his master's in OU, Oklahoma, and they would chase the tornadoes. He chased a Category 5 tornado, and he found it. And I was on the phone with him, and he was stuck in the mud in a farmer's field. My heart, I thought, this is it. I was praying. I was like, Danny, we're gonna pray. And he's like, I can't talk, Mom. Can't even talk. Anyway, he was fine, obviously, but he got his first job out of school, and he just took the first job that came along, and then he just stayed there. So it's not like he kind of moved on and tried something new, like that was more like what he was really interested in was like the real weather and all the stats and everything, historical and all that. That's him. He ended up in the wind energy industry. Can you believe it?
Oh yeah.
And President Trump's always like, they're killing all the birds. And
who's he with? Is he with that company Gamesa with their windmills?
No, he's with GE right now. He's looking for another job, but yeah, he's got other places he can work for that are more interesting, so that at least that's coming up. But it's made him more liberal because of who he hangs out with and who he talks to and everything.
Well, a lot of the times, especially when you get out of college, it like one of the biggest pressures that I've noticed on people that went away for college for a long time is that they have to land the job that they're in debt to, and that it's the pressure of getting that job. And then when they get the job, it's like this mentality of function sets in. I have a job to do. I have a function. And then it's the same way with cops and judges and everything else. Rather than having your own humanity and discernment, you have a job to do. Well, so did the SS soldiers when Hitler was doing.
Oh, I know.
What he's doing. They had a job and a function, and they turned on their own people. Like, we can't have that here. No. And that's one thing I have faith in our military. That's our brothers, our sisters, our sons, daughters, husbands, and wives. For them to actually take an oath and then, turn on us to disarm us and stuff, you got to be a pretty dumb government to think you're actually going to be in control of that. Maybe some might be robotic and do it, but the majority, no way.
No
way. They would literally have to utilize UN. And how do you think it's going to work out when the military and the civilians are arm in arm towards blue helmets? You know what I mean? Right.
President Trump was on Gateway Pundit Friday. He was on online interview on the phone, and Jim Hoft and his brother Joe was on. So it was 2 days.
Oh, he had both of them on there.
Yeah, so both of them were on there, and it was on purpose because of JFK. And I mean, you can say Juan or John, but my whole theory, I don't know if you've heard it yet, but that all of those people are Joseph Patrick Kennedy Jr. probably don't want to get into it, but that's who, but that's another J. Okay.
Well,
They're all J's.
didn't Q mention signets and stuff? Didn't he mention a signet?
The ring, a signet ring.
It's a cute ruby ring Juan wears. Ruby cute.
Oh, it is. And you know what Negative called that ring? Just
It might be Garland too. I'm just saying, for the pinky is the cute finger. A ruby on a cute finger. How many times did you run into ruby cute on the database?
Right.
Ruby,
yeah, and ruby cute.
And that's a symbol for a muse, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh.
So who's controlling Juan? Who
does
Juan report to? Yeah, well, it's more like who does Juan report to?
Yeah.
On the ruby cute finger with the snake boots, having to get his heels.
God the Father, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Father, yeah.
I think we got somebody appealing to the higher courts here, and I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, he wears that ring because well, I thought it was because it was JFK's ring, because the JFK wore the same ring, but he wore it on this finger, the ring finger, and Juan wears it on a pinky finger because it looks like it's small, really small. Yeah. But yeah, and the whole ruby cute thing is a code that Negative was talking about. Jack, was it him? I don't know. I get my people confused, but
well, he had a dog named Ruby, didn't he?
Yeah, well, I think, or a cat. Maybe it was the cat.
I forget which
one. He
had
a dog named Friday. I remember the dog Friday.
I think it was a cat named Ruby.
Yeah, and then so the thing was, it was written in red ink on the Women for Trump sign.
Yep.
And red is JFK, and ink is 34, and that ties into grace. Grace is 34, and you also can look at it as if you're trying to figure out about it, this long red tie. That part was from Negative, definitely the red tie part. Anyway, the long red tie wears an excessively long red tie. To be honest,
I remember the media talking about that.
I never noticed.
I'm sitting there laughing, going, Donald Trump knows how to dress himself, especially in a suit and tie like that's deliberate. I didn't think nothing of it beyond that, though. So when Negative brought that up, I was like, hey.
But the red tie, so red JFK, and then tie is, like I said, that's 34, which is grace.
Yeah.
It all just goes together. And Jack Ruby, it's 115. Ruby cute is 115. And okay, let me get it right. I'm gonna say it wrong. Gosh, don't do this to me. Ruby cute is 115, and I lost it. Oh my gosh, I stop too often. Oh, I stop and I think too much. Okay, stop and think. What is it? 115. Anyway, when he says Ruby cute, like if he said it out loud, it's like Negative said it this way. He said, Jack, it's really cute. No, Jack it was Jack Ruby, right? The guy who shot Oswald. Was his name Jack Ruby?
Lee Harvey.
Yeah, he shot him in the jail.
Oh.
I just can't think his first name, but I think it's Jack. But anyway, so the point on the sign, but the point on the sign, I guess, is that, Jack, it's really cute how you shot Oswald, and there was no blood. I didn't realize that there was no blood. So that was fake too. That whole thing was fake. Oswald's probably still around. So we'll hear the truth from his mouth, maybe, right? This is amazing.
See, that whole concept of trying to figure that out goes in with the movie clip that I put in there years ago. I was trying to tell people, get a grip on how you should have your mind bent, and I posted a clip from the movie Swordfish with John Travolta. He's driving in a car and he talks about Harry Houdini. He's saying Harry Houdini was an artist. He could make an elephant disappear in the middle of an auditorium full of people. Mm-hmm. He goes, and how did he do that? And he had the guy look over. Hugh Jackman looks at him and goes, I don't know. And he goes, misdirection. What the ears hear and the eyes see, the mind believes. Oh. And that goes with JFK. Look over here. When you look over
Right.
there, oh my God, because you looked over there, now all this shit's going on over here, but right in front of you
Yeah. Yeah.
is the whole big play. So I've taken that concept of, JFK's look here, look there, and what was said in that movie clip, and just kind of sat back so I could look left, right, and in the middle all at the same time. And that's a lot of books. I mean, that's a lot of different Bibles running parallel. That's a lot of different,
Yeah.
and you just gotta, everything comes out to some sort of sequence.
Right.
Everything comes in, like Tom and Michael are talking about. It comes down to numbers. If you break the numbers down to their smallest reduction, you start seeing sequences and the in-betweens and everything.
Yeah.
And then you just start you start putting things together, and you eventually run into nights where you sit up and you start drawing things.
You draw things like that.
You draw things like this, and then as you're looking through it, it's all about 90 degrees, 45s, and number sequencing. And all of that goes in with Solomon's square. When you hear about the magical squares of Solomon and stuff like that, that was another study. And it's like kind of like a Rubik's Cube, a 3x3, 1 through 9, 5 in the middle.
Okay.
5 being grace, it's always at the center and stuff. And we just started working these things. One late night, I got an early night, I'm doing security, and I take my notebooks with me, and my mind starts going wild. And I start drawing this symmetrical thing that I just showed you out of nowhere.
Wow.
That was just in an hour's moment of one of my night shifts. I'm like, where does this come from? Like, because I know it's outside of myself.
Oh, it's got to be
So
good.
it's like, so going back to that organic 5G I mentioned,
I think it's good.
the back channels. Right.
And everything's going to move to the front. Like Negative said that we're going to get, he said, we've known these numbers our whole lives, but we don't know that we know.
Hands down, I agree, because my rapid understanding of various things I've never looked into for 41 years of my life is, it's pretty astounding how easily it's coming. And it's, I'm excited. I'm kind of like, at the same time.
Well, that's awesome. I remembered my 115. I knew I would.
Go ahead.
Happens to me all the time. People must think I'm nuts, but the one from the Ruby Cute one is 115. Well, that was the date that it happened, supposedly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
What was the historical date on 5/11? May 11th.
Oh,
Wasn't there? I think Juan was talking about something 5/11. Wasn't that, what was Pearl Harbor's? Was that 3/11, right?
Pearl Harbor was 6/6.
Was that 6/6?
And they did that on purpose because it was for the 666.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just think of the devil. That's Pearl Harbor.
I got to look into 5/11. I forget exactly.
You know what? That doesn't make sense what I just said,
was.
because that would have been before the thing happened. No, what the heck? So that was wrong. That was wrong. It wasn't the date. Oh my gosh. I have so many notes here, but it's so, I have it right in my lap somewhere, but look, I've got a billion notebooks just from.
Oh, I know.
Just from the last 2 weeks. I went through 4 pens in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm debating on taking out stock or something on those Mead composition books because I eat through them. I mean,
I don't know. I don't use the computer for writing things in, and I just don't. I've always been a hand writer person.
I spent a lot of money on books throughout this whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, a lot of different various Bibles and stuff. I had one of my Muslim buddies. He went over to he was going to Baghdad for his sister's birthday before all of this happened, and he picked me up a Quran from over there. He goes, "Well, you're Christian." I was like, "It doesn't mean I don't want to understand something."
Well, of course, yeah.
And I showed him the scriptures and in Revelation and stuff, and the revealing of the 7 lampstands. John asked God, what are these lampstands? Right. God said those are represented. Those are lampstands regarding each one of my churches, and one is represented of an angel over a church.
Right.
Well, that's funny because it also states that every one of them fell except for the angel of the Church of Philadelphia.
I know. I was just thinking about that.
And it's not that God's extremely happy with that specific angel, but he didn't fall into the same handshake the other ones did. So you're talking about 6 out of 7 scripture doctrines of God in his original church fell victim to what I would consider the deep state. Because if the Windsors are all over a corruption of the church from the 1400s, that's probably, probably coincides.
Right.
So it's like, we know those original churches were in Turkey along the coast.
Yeah.
When you study, it's like they were all in like Smyrna and Ephrata
Right.
and all those different areas. They were all those were Turkish areas.
Right.
So it's like, it's very curious, just very curious.
Yeah. Yeah.
I try not to hate anybody, but it's like, if you hear a lot of people discussing what Israel's been doing to us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know if you've heard that
Not lately, but
between the Mossad stuff, between that rabbi and stuff, a lot of people are saying that Israel's been pulling a lot of the shenanigans on us. What was it? The USS Lincoln, I think they attacked, and everything else as well. It was that battleship they attacked and stuff. I didn't really look into it, but it's like there was that moment where people were really trying to come at the Jews.
right.
They're really trying to come at the Jewish community. Well, screw the Jews. And listen, I'm not gonna get like that even with a Muslim. But
They could turn around and
if blood's your
think about
thing, you
us.
can most definitely have it.
Yeah. I mean, when they find out what we've done, oh my gosh, our name's mud too. They just don't know yet. They will.
Like it's like my friend who served in the Marines. He was over in Kandahar for 7-8 years undercover because he's Middle Eastern, and he was under the employ of John Brennan, and John Brennan did not have him, get rid of the poppy fields. He had him protect them.
Oh, I know. I've heard that. That's just so sick.
So
and guess what else? Did you hear that Pat Tillman? You know who Pat Tillman is?
Yeah.
He's here, and he's Thor's hammer. He's gonna expose military. Negative said that.
He's gonna bring the hammer down.
Yeah, he is. He's the one that looks like Thor with the neck and everything. That's what Negative said. I was like, oh my gosh, my husband's gonna be so happy. So I told him.
That's awesome.
Yesterday.
That's awesome. Yeah, swing hard, swing true, man.
But he was saying the truth about what was going on over there.
Yeah.
And then he had to exit, and he was being saved for, now.
Yeah. So
that's pretty cool. I mean, Princess Diana will take down the royals, all the royals in the whole world.
Yeah.
There won't be any more. I mean, unless it's, God type, you know what I'm trying to say, but not like the evil royal people.
Yeah. That's what's interesting about that war too. In 2003, they went over right for that Iraq war, and at the same time, they actually found the tomb to Gilgamesh from Mesopotamia. They found the tomb of Gilgamesh. I heard. I haven't got confirmation. There's been pictures. You know how that goes. Anybody can spin a story. So you gotta. But it looked like the body was intact. So I'm assuming DNA, and that's the DNA. That would be the DNA of Nimrod.
Wow.
So Nimrod went by a few names. He is Gilgamesh. He is Orion.
Okay.
So
I didn't realize that. Okay.
Yeah, me and Jutsi kind of over a period of time. There's multiple names, one singular entity per name. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like God has 99 names.
Right.
Muslims call God Allah, but that's not his name. That's a title for one and only God. So,
okay.
Is there a misunderstanding? Well, he worships Allah. Well, it depends on how they're portraying it, because if you don't call your dad by his first name, I would think your creator's probably not your bro. He's your father. You don't want to call him by his first name. Just etiquette sense. That's just my take on it.
Yeah.
But
well, we probably should get going. I've abandoned my husband for like 3 days in a row now, doing all this, not interviews, trying to do my darn videos that didn't work out. I mean, I can't tell you how many hours I've wasted on this. And then I end up rewriting it because the best
videos are the raw videos where there are mistakes, where you can watch people grow as the channel grows. And that's it. That's
well, if I could get it recorded, that would be great.
Yeah. And if you have me on your channel, it's definitely not perfect. It's good sale.
I like it. You've got to come on all the time. I love it.
Yeah, we got to get used to more raw and less edited.
Yeah, and you know what? I got the best subscribers. You should read the comments.
I do.
Oh my goodness.
I do. I was
nice
so thrilled to
people.
see you had a channel and that people were engaging with your work, because your
I know.
gematria
Can you
work was
believe
very
it?
close to what me and Jutsi were doing. You just
I tried.
you always stayed with the more political JFK side of things.
Yeah, I know.
Me and her want to know it all. We're like a kid in a candy shop. So it's like,
I think I was running in a stream with the same people, kind of like what you were just saying,
yeah,
and then I kind of have broken out just a little bit,
yeah.
I'm trying.
I'm glad to get my face out there, because my social media probably doesn't seem too inviting. Oh, this guy's got screaming heavy mutant. No, it's just,
Yeah,
it's a thing.
it's
It's a thing.
okay. You're you.
I still like lollipops too.
And I listen to old time radio shows, so I'm acting like maybe older than I am,
Yeah.
which is old
I
enough.
listen. No, hey, listen, I listen to AM. I listen to that Ground Zero show.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
it's funny.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, it's been awesome. I just had such a good time. You made me
Yeah, same
smile, but
here.
my cheeks hurt. I'm
It will
smiling.
happen. Wait till we get Jutsi on. It'll be worse the next time
Oh my
around.
gosh, I
Because
love
it's
it.
going to be a whole reunion. She's looking forward to it.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how to shut it off, so I'm gonna just shut the call.
Yeah, just
I'm
close
such a
the top. I'm
loser.
going to have to do the same.
Okay. Okay. Well, I love you. I just
Love you, huh?
brotherly kind of love and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Looking
So
forward to doing it again. You just let me know anytime.
yeah, say hi to her for me.
I
Okay.
will. I absolutely will.
All right. Bye
Take care.
bye, honey.